miraculously slowed. Moments later, he found himself tumbling into a thicket of dense bushes. The rustling of countless leaves accompanied a dull thud as Yifeng hit the ground. Pain coursed through him, causing him to grimace as if every bone in his body had shattered. Yet, there was not a hint of regret in his demeanor. Instead, he gazed up at the towering cliff above with a look of astonishment. Surviving such a perilous fall was a miracle. Surely, survival from this calamity promised future blessings. His legs, though battered, still had some mobility, and not far away lay a river. If he could just reach the water and float downstream, there remained a significant chance for him to cling to life. Suddenly, as he shifted his position, a sharp intake of breath escaped him, and his body trembled with exhilaration. Ha ha ha! That cursed old dog and those 3 assassins had unwittingly paved the way for his escape from death. Their doom would soon follow. Yifeng was elated. To his astonishment, after this life-and-death struggle, the cultivation technique within him had ascended to its 2nd tier, greatly enhancing his abilities. Even his injuries exhibited signs of self-healing. Given time, he would undoubtedly recover fully and embark on a path of even greater strength. The desire for vengeance had taken root within his heart, sprouting like a seed. At that moment, a barrage of bullets erupted, striking Yifeng's legs with precision. What appeared to be mere punctures were, in reality, explosions that obliterated his legs, sending blood spraying and exposing bone. Shortly thereafter, a squad of armed soldiers emerged from the dense foliage. Incredible! The young master truly possesses foresight. Such a formidable adversary has plummeted from such a height and yet remains alive. It's utterly terrifying. One soldier remarked, "The young master is indeed a modern-day Zhuge Liang, remarkably astute." Zhuge Liang, indeed? You gotta be kidding. The young master is beyond your flattery, another soldier retorted. Besides us, every cave in Mangdang Mountain, including the Great Lake, is rigged with explosives. Even if he had wings, he couldn't escape. He simply happened upon our trap. The soldier, unrestrained, scolded old Huang, glancing at Yifeng, whose legs were now obliterated. What were you thinking, firing your weapon? Now, look what has happened. The young master instructed us to restrain him, and if he dies, what then? Old Huang scratched his head sheepishly. I was startled. The Bloodwolf Mercenary Corps is terrifying. Just one of them has taken out so many. Without our trusty weapons, we would hardly stand a chance against him. There were only 10 of them, including Junzi, and the vast expanse of Mangdang Mountain offered countless hiding spots. Despite the young master's best efforts to maintain balance, only this handful remained at the cliff's base, waiting for an opportunity. The firearms in their possession had been temporarily allocated by Junzi and would need to be returned post-operation. After all, while such equipment could be effective, excessive use might lead to complications. Who did this? A cold snort echoed through the dense forest as Qin Lang emerged with a face as dark as the waters of a stormy sea. He gazed at Yifeng, who lay on the ground, his legs shattered, eyes ablaze with agony, seething with anger. Old Huang, trembling, confessed, "Young master, it was my doing. I realized my mistake. I was merely concerned that this monster might harm others, which is why I incapacitated him." Qin Lang fixed a cold stare upon Yifeng, his expression stern. "Who permitted you to fire? Did I instruct you to shoot? Are you unaware of Yifeng's identity? He is the leader of the Bloodwolf Mercenary Corps, a prominent figure among foreign mercenaries. Your actions have tarnished his dignity." Old Huang bowed his head in shame, feeling genuine regret. Having embarrassed himself during the initial character assessment, he now faced another blunder while attempting to rectify matters. Would he be dismissed? Although his year-end bonus and profit share might not rival Junzi's, his monthly salary of around 30,000 was substantial, especially since he had already developed a romantic connection with Qin Julian. Qin Lang placed a reassuring hand on Old Huang's shoulder, giving it a firm pat. "Old Huang, there is something I hesitate to express, yet it can be distilled into one phrase. Well done." Yifeng, lying on the ground, coughed up a mouthful of blood, nearly succumbing to unconsciousness due to his fury. Instinctively, he summoned the entirety of his energy, using his fractured hands to prop himself up, enduring excruciating pain as he lunged toward Qin Lang. All his dreams were drowned in the agony of his shattered legs. Even in death, he intended to drag Qin Lang along to the grave. "Young master, be careful." Junzi and the others, eyes wide with alarm, found themselves powerless to intercept the oncoming Yifeng. Qin Lang turned, surprised, as he beheld Yifeng, eyes gleaming with ferocity akin to a ravenous wolf. He extended a hand, effortlessly pressing it against Yifeng's head, and with a sudden twist, a sharp crack resonated. The neck was violently contorted at a 90-degree angle. Yi Feng's blood-red eyes gradually dimmed, his breath fading. His body collapsed heavily onto the ground, blood oozing from the stumps of his severed legs. Get to work, Qin Lang urged. A bodyguard, momentarily stunned by the display of force, snapped back to reality, shouldering a flamethrower and advancing towards Yi Feng's lifeless form, unleashing a torrent of flames upon it. Under the intense heat, within moments, Yi Feng's body was reduced to nothing but ash, utterly obliterated, dissipating into the night breeze. A seamless execution of murder and incineration. Thus, the fated child, Yi Feng, met his demise. Ding! Congratulations, host, on the successful elimination of the fated child, Yi Feng. The calculation of the fated villain value is currently in progress. Please hold. Chapter 84. Frenzy. A bountiful harvest. System upgrade. Ding. Congratulations, host, on acquiring advanced firearms proficiency. Ding. Congratulations, host, on obtaining basic medical skills. Critical reward. Congratulations, host, on achieving intermediate medical skills. Ding. Congratulations, host, on gaining basic danger perception. Critical reward. Congratulations, host, on achieving intermediate danger perception. Ding. Congratulations, host, on acquiring the first turn of the fated child technique, True Dragon Art. Critical reward. Congratulations, host, on receiving 9-turn Heavenly Dragon Art. Ding. Congratulations, host, on receiving 50 physique points. Ding. At this moment, a series of system notifications echoed in Qin Lang's mind, each announcing bountiful rewards, evidently stripping the luck of the fallen son of destiny down to his very soul. Almost all rewards were directly seized from Yi Feng or stemmed from further upgrades. Notably, the True Dragon Technique, a rare martial arts skill, had evolved into the formidable 9 turns Heavenly Dragon Technique, which exhibited a terrifying exponential increase akin to a compounding force. Progressing through 9 steps, each infused with escalating power, resulted in a multiplicative enhancement. Upon reaching the first turn, a full force strike could amplify his physical prowess to 1.5 times its original capacity, with the second turn promising an equally fearsome augmentation. Ding! System upgrade successful. The value of the Destiny villain has been calculated. Please check the system panel for details. System panel. Character. Qin Lang. Age. 25. Physical condition. 250. Charm. 99. Destiny villain value. 216. 700. Technique. 9 turns Heavenly Dragon Technique. First turn enhancement. 15. To advance to the second turn requires 200,000 Destiny villain points. Skills. Affinity 8. Group Affinity. 80. Advanced Piano Skills. Advanced T-Art. Advanced Aesthetic Appreciation. Disguise Technique. Advanced Firearm Proficiency. Intermediate Danger Perception. Intermediate Medical Knowledge. Store. Open Lottery Center. Open. Each lottery draw costs 1,000 Destiny Villain Points. System Backpack. A collection of Ant-Chios photographs. 1 pack of Qin Feng tissues. 100 uses remaining. A collection of Ms. by S photographs. 1 electric massager. Damaged. Hiss. Even Qin Lang, gazing at the current system interface, couldn't help but gasp in astonishment. Over 120,000 Destiny Villain points? How much Destiny Villain value did he seize from vanquishing Yi Feng? Over 1 million. Is this truly the essence of the system? Is this the nature of the Son of Destiny? He once thought Lu Bu was unrivaled, yet the Son of Destiny proved to be even more terrifying. Who exactly was Yi Feng's master? Ding! New plot has successfully integrated. It requires 200,000 Destiny Villain points. Does the host wish to preview it? Yes. As the 200,000 points were deducted, Qin Lang felt a pang of regret. After laboring tirelessly for so long and expending such great effort, he could merely gain insight into the next segment of the plot. Fortunately, eliminating Yi Feng had compensated for over 1 million. Otherwise, how much longer would he have to toil to earn it back? A substantial flow of gentle information circulated in his mind. This plot revolved around a divine doctor descending from the mountain, with the time until the plot's activation drawing closer. It was possible that the Son of Destiny was already in Tianhai City. However, the one commendable aspect was that the successor to Yi Feng, the new Son of Destiny, appeared to be in the nascent stages of development, lacking formidable strength. Compared to Yi Feng, he would likely not be significantly stronger. For Qin Lang, at this moment, the threat was minimal. He was an excellent target for exploitation. Moreover, he had begun to suspect the identity of the striking female assassin who had just appeared in Mangdang Mountain. The Blood Mandala, perhaps? The top 3 assassins on the kill list, with their lofty pride, possess a profound sense of honor befitting their status as elite killers. Indeed, She is a protagonist worthy of 50,000 villain points. However, it seems the system has undergone an upgrade. Even a lottery now requires a consumption of 1,000 villain points. It stands to reason that her villain points should exceed 50,000. Young Master Junzi observed his master, lost in thought, and felt a peculiar sensation, prompting him to call out softly. His mind buzzed with disbelief at the revelation that Yi Feng had perished at the hands of his own master. Even with legs shattered by gunfire, the final desperate strike would have left anyone else severely injured, if not dead. Yet, Yi Feng's demise under the master's hand was shrouded in an eerie mystery. It was simply astonishing. Qin Lang turned around and took the micro-submachine gun from Junzi's grasp. Proficient in advanced weaponry and equipped with a system-crafted firearm, Qin Lang wielded the weapon with a skill that rivaled, if not surpassed, that of seasoned veterans like Junzi and Lao Huang. Sensing danger, he detected 3 threats, 2 of which emanated from a singular source. He aimed the submachine gun at a dense thicket in the forest and unleashed a barrage of fire. Lao Huang and the others followed suit, firing alongside him. The sound of gunfire was accompanied by 2 agonizing screams as they dragged out 2 assassins, riddled with bullets, who had just ascended the cliff in search of Yi Feng's body. Ku Mu Feng Chun and Shorty Qi. With an intermediate level of danger perception, Qin Lang was leagues ahead of Yi Feng, whose instincts only allowed him to sense basic threats. He could ascertain the general direction of danger. The extensive area targeted by the gunfire made it nearly impossible for a handful of concealed assassins to evade detection. He cast his gaze towards another section of the forest. Snorting disdainfully, Yi Feng was dead, and this information was not to be disclosed to anyone, not even by Xiao Chun. If they wished to survive, they should leave quietly. Otherwise, he would not hesitate to open fire. A palpable sense of danger prickled at the nape of Qin Lang's neck. He fired a warning shot into the thicket beside the forest, his intent not to kill, but to threaten. The blood-red mandrake? Proud and haughty? He would trample that pride beneath his feet, and if that wasn't enough, he would spit on it again. What if such an impressive female assassin managed to escape after a confrontation? Assassins of his caliber could elude even his efforts to track them down in a short span of time. It would be wiser to provoke them first, marking them as foes, and then wait for the opportune moment. Before long, the unsettling chill that had crept up his spine dissipated. Qin Lang, aware that the blood-red mandrake had departed, instructed Junzi and the others to clean up the scene before hastily making his way in another direction. He had other pressing matters to attend to, and a sense of urgency and even fear began to stir within him. Chapter 85. Qin Lang's Fear. Qiu Jiuer's affection. Qin Lang moved with astonishing swiftness, harnessing nearly all of his formidable strength. His anxiety surged like relentless waves crashing upon the shore. He raced towards a mountain where Qiu Jiuer was situated, and after what felt like an eternity, he finally reached the previous location. Yet to his dismay, she was nowhere to be found. Jiuer, my Jiuer, where are you? Qin Lang's heart brimmed with trepidation. He was not Elbu, and Qiu Jiuer was certainly not Jiao Chan. While Jiao Chan clung to Elbu's side, where was Qiu Jiuer? Retrieving a telescope from his system pouch, Qin Lang scanned the vast expanse of Mangdang Mountain. Scattered corpses littered the landscape, a grim testament to the carnage. After what seemed like an eternity, he finally discerned Qiu Jiuer's presence amidst the devastation. Without hesitation, he stowed the telescope away and resumed his frantic pursuit. Minutes later, after exhausting considerable stamina, Qin Lang arrived at Qiu Jiuer's location. She appeared somber, her expression as dark as the depths of a stormy sea, directing members of the Black Dragon Society as they cleared the battlefield. The casualties had far exceeded her expectations. Even the Black Dragon Society struggled to withstand such a ferocious onslaught. That scoundrel Yi Feng is utterly deranged. How could he bring himself to slay so many? He is nothing short of a demon. As they transported the fallen members away, Qiu Jiuer assured the injured that the Black Dragon Society would provide comprehensive financial support and the best medical care available for those who had perished. She vowed that their families would not be neglected. Her authoritative presence and solemn promises served to calm the distraught members, though she knew that greater sacrifices would be required to restore their faith, even if it meant offering substantial compensation. She felt compelled to act for the sake of her comrades. Jiuer, Qin Lang's voice echoed behind her. Startled, Qiu Jiuer turned to see Qin Lang approaching, his eyes tinged with a hint of red. What are you doing here? Where are Yi Feng and those assassins? She inquired, curiosity etched upon her face. Qin Lang advanced, his demeanor icy. What are you doing here? I instructed you to remain where you were. Chiyo bristled at his reprimand. How could I stand idly by while members of the Black Dragon Society suffer such grievous losses? Does your presence even matter? Qin Lang retorted, his voice rising in ire. Do you comprehend the terror that Yi Feng embodies? He kills without hesitation, a veritable demon. Are you truly his match? Foolishness. He continued, seething. What if he returns and slays you? What am I to do then? Can you not consider my feelings? Is it only the welfare of the Black Dragon Society that occupies your mind, with no thought for your own safety? Chiyo opened her mouth to counter his assertions. Yet as she beheld his impassioned visage, an unexpected warmth enveloped her heart, softening her gaze. Worry breeds chaos. She had never witnessed Qin Lang in such a disheveled state. And now, it was evident that his distress stemmed solely from a fear for her safety. Perhaps in Qin Lang's heart, her status is even more significant than she herself perceives. I am fine, you need not worry. Just give me a moment, murmured Chiyo softly, before turning to the approaching members of the Black Dragon Society with a serious command. Do, as I say, transport all the injured to the private hospital, and ensure the scene is thoroughly cleaned, leaving no trace behind. When the Black Dragon Society was first established, conflicts erupted frequently, resulting in numerous injuries among its members. Relying on public hospitals often led to complications. Many years ago, Chiyo long invested in the establishment of a private hospital, which has now evolved into a well-regarded institution in Tianhai City. Having given her instructions, Chiyo felt it was inappropriate to linger any longer. She grasped Qin Lang's hand, leading him deeper into Mangdang Mountain. They halted upon discovering a secluded cave, where she reproached him lightly. There are so many people here, and I am, after all, the young lady of the Black Dragon Society. I hold considerable prestige in their eyes. Treating me like a mere girl is rather unbecoming. Please refrain from such behavior in public next time. You know what I am worried about. Why do you not heed my words? This place is perilous. What if something happens to you? Qin Lang's expression was stern. He was not in the mood for mischief, nor did he expose the flaws in Chiyo's words. Is it acceptable to behave one way in public and another in private? There seemed to be a misunderstanding, yet Qin Lang chose not to clarify, feigning ignorance. Chiyo, holding his hand, spoke softly. I am well aware of my own circumstances. I descended to handle matters only after witnessing Yi Feng disappear at the mountain's end. Have you encountered any danger? Are you injured? Qin Lang's face remained serious as he began to search for any injuries. Chiyo felt a bit shy, but found it difficult to reject his concern. Suddenly, Qin Lang exclaimed, Jiyo, you are hurt, leaning against the rock. Chiyo embraced her chest and retorted, I am not injured. She was reluctantly impressed by Qin Lang's persistent curiosity. One moment he expressed concern for her safety, and the next, after confirming she was unharmed, he resumed his antics. Such reckless behavior. After a minute, Chiyo gritted her teeth and pushed Qin Lang, scolding him playfully. 3 minutes later, she half-heartedly yielded, her beautiful eyes filled with tenderness and concern. Despite her reluctance to display affection, Chiyo was deeply touched by Qin Lang's caring demeanor, her heart brimming with joy, making it difficult to genuinely refuse him. 2 hours later, the system chimed, Congratulations. Host, you have gained 1,000 villain points. Another chime followed, Congratulations. Host, you have gained 10,002 villain points. The fear that had resided within Qin Lang dissipated at last. He had been terrified, thinking that if the child of destiny perished, the entire plot would unravel and villain points would cease to accumulate. However, it now appeared that this was not the case. The child of destiny remained the child of destiny, and the daughter of destiny remained the daughter of destiny, each carrying their own fortune, largely unaffected by one another. Thus, he found that the tasks he had yet to complete were not truly missed opportunities. He could continue to fulfill them in due course, which sufficed. Moreover, in pursuit of villain points, he remained resolute in his efforts, for cultivating good habits was imperative. It was certainly not a matter of seeking fleeting comfort. Rather, the crucial aspect was the accelerated accumulation of villain points. Chapter 86. Spending 500,000 villain points. Advanced medical skills sitting upon a stone, with a sore back, Qin Lang exhaled a smoke ring, feeling quite content. As the saying goes, a smoke after matters conclude brings happiness akin to that of deities. Furthermore, through experimentation, it had been revealed that the fortune of the daughter of destiny would not dissipate upon the death of the son of destiny. What could possibly bring greater joy than this? What did you procure that cigarette and lighter? Chiyo, feeble yet determined, extended her delicate hand and discarded the cigarette from Qin Lang's mouth onto the ground, her tone laden with annoyance. Why do you smoke so much? The stench is unbearable. If you dare to smoke in my presence again, do not expect to touch me. She covered her mouth and nose with her hand, clearly expressing her disdain. But who was Qin Lang? A master of advanced tea arts. He was adept at brewing the finest green tea, capable of discerning what was genuine and what was not. Qiu Jiu'er was evidently concerned for his health, unwilling to permit him to smoke, rather than genuinely disliking the scent of smoke. As the leader of the Rose Hall within the Black Dragon Society, she herself did not indulge in smoking, yet during meetings, was it not a haze of smoke that enveloped the room? If Qiu Jiu'er truly cared about this, why had she not voiced her concerns previously? Qin Lang chose not to expose her, instead retrieving another cigarette from his system's inventory, lighting it before she could speak. Can you cook? He inquired. Qiu Jiu'er rolled her eyes. Who do you think I am? A cook? Or a common girl from a modest household? We, the people of the Rose Hall, only know how to stab with daggers. We never touch pots and pans. Qin Lang sighed. What a pity. I had thought, with your feminine charm, you would possess domestic skills. It appears I was mistaken. Qiu Jiu'er retorted sharply. Dream on. Why would I need to be domestic? I merely need to manage my Rose Hall well. With that, she turned away, donning a black leather jacket, resembling someone sulking in silence. As for Qin Lang, he silently accessed the system panel, spending 200,000 villain points to upgrade the 9 turns True Dragon technique from the first turn to the second, enhancing its multiplier from 15 to 225. This meant that with a physical constitution of 250, when employing the second turn of the 9 turns True Dragon technique, he could unleash an explosive power equivalent to 625. What did this signify? Against an evenly matched opponent, if Qin Lang sees an opportune moment to activate the 9 turns True Dragon technique, he could deliver a single blow that would leave his adversary utterly defeated. Surprise was the most lethal weapon. Lottery, he silently chanted, and before Qin Lang appeared a pale, golden roulette beginning to spin. He had previously been eager to verify certain matters in his heart, and now, having attained his desired results, his immediate inclination was to observe the effects of the upgraded system. Particularly, the lottery had transitioned from a cost of 100 points to a staggering 1,000 points per draw, a tenfold increase. One could surmise that the corresponding rewards should also be enhanced tenfold. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have obtained Heartfelt Wipes X3. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have obtained Sister Huey's Doll X1. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have obtained Cleansing Elixir X1. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have obtained Human Infant Burp Bags X10. Wipes? Doll? Upon witnessing these 2 items, Qin Lang's expression darkened. Damn it. This lottery is nothing but a trap. Could he not have purchased these items himself? If he were to buy them, he would certainly opt for larger quantities. The system merely gifted him these trivial items, all of which pertain to that particular aspect. What is this? A subtle hint of gratitude, disguised as a reward to satisfy his curiosity? The only remotely useful item was the Cleansing Elixir, which could enhance the physical attributes of the user. Otherwise, he would seriously contemplate disabling this ridiculous system. A scam. Everything is a deceit. Just like football, it's all staged. How could one possibly play at night under a blazing sun? It's all pre-recorded. Continuing on, gritting his teeth, Qin Lang glanced at the system store. Well, the Cleansing Elixir had yet to appear. He had no choice but to gamble on his luck. While the rewards may be scarce and often deceptive, a larger quantity sometimes yields unexpected gains. If he could manage to draw 1 or 2 advanced skills, regardless of what they were, he would break even. If the losses were truly catastrophic, he would have to make do with the unfortunate sisters, Qiu Jiu'er and Bai Ruyu, who shared no blood ties. Or perhaps teach Su Xiaoxiao to count in unison. At least he could recoup some of his investment. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have obtained Cleansing Elixir X1. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have obtained Constitution X1. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have obtained Advanced Medical Skills. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have obtained a brand new electric medical device X1. Having spent a staggering 500,000 points of villainous destiny, Qin Lang cast a pained glance at the system panel before temporarily closing the lottery interface. Fortunately, he had acquired advanced medical skills. Otherwise, even with the Cleansing Elixir, the expenditure of 500,000 points would still be a bitter pill to swallow. System panel. Character. Qin Lang. Age. 25. Constitution. 320 Charm. 99 Villainous Destiny points. 316,700 Techniques. 9 turn Celestial Dragon Art. Second turn Enhancement 225. Requires 50,000 Villainous Destiny points to ascend to the 3rd turn. Skills: Affinity 8, Group Affinity 80, Advanced Piano Technique, Advanced Tea Art, Advanced Calligraphy Disguise, Advanced Firearms Proficiency. Intermediate Danger Perception, Advanced Medical Skills. Shopping Mall. Opening Lottery Center. Opening. Each lottery consumes 1,000 Destiny Villain points. System Backpack. 18 Cleansing Pills, 1 photo album of Anchio. 1 pack of Ching Feng tissues, 120 uses remaining. 1 photo album of Ms. by $1 Sister Huey's Substitute. 3 heartfelt wipes, 10 bags for human infants. 1 brand new electric medical device. Qin Lang cast a glance and spent 200,000 to gain insights into the plot of The Next Child of Fortune. Spent another 200,000 to elevate 9 turns True Dragon Technique to the 2nd turn, and then spent 500,000 Destiny Villain points on a lottery, obtaining advanced medical skills among other rewards. He still had over 310,000 Destiny Villain points left, which was quite a profit. This round was a guaranteed win. However, without sufficient Destiny Villain points, recklessly participating in a lottery would likely result in significant losses, as the rewards from this troublesome system become increasingly advanced as one progresses. Evaluating his own physical constitution of 320, even if the breakthrough Yi Feng were alive, facing him with full force would yield a victory rate of merely 0.02. If he were to employ 9 turns True Dragon Technique, the victory rate might hover around 0.0001 perhaps. I shall return now. Ki Yue Mumbut. Noticing the vice leader of the Rose Hall approaching in search, slightly staggering yet stubbornly rising to her feet, taking slow steps toward the dense forest. Let me assist you. Qin Lang stood up intending to offer support, but Xiao Jiur declined, seemingly sulking. After meeting with the vice leader and distancing herself from the cave, Xiao Jiur finally spoke. The cooks at the Rose Hall have been underperforming lately. They came to my place last night, and I must personally assess their culinary skills. If they do not meet the standards, they shall be dismissed. Chapter 87. Truthful Little Pills. Qin Lang returned to the villa after losing sight of Qiujir. He entrusted the subsequent matters regarding Mangdang Mountain to Junzi, which would not only avoid trouble, but also yield rewards and promotions. This endeavor involved privately uncovering a clandestine skirmish among assassins and eliminating all those dangerous individuals. For Junzi, who bore official responsibilities, this was undoubtedly a significant achievement. Upon returning to the villa, Qin Lang leaned against the sofa in the living room, gazing at the lights glowing in the dining area, and called out, "Xiao Xiao." Su Xiao Xiao hurriedly dashed out from the kitchen, her face lighting up with surprise upon seeing her young master return so late. Sensing the enticing aroma wafting from the kitchen, Qin Lang playfully remarked, "So, while I was away, you secretly indulged in pork rib papaya soup all by yourself?" Su Xiao Xiao's cheeks flushed crimson. Caught in her little secret, she lowered her head in embarrassment, frozen in a state of indecision. "Come here, let me assist you." Qin Lang beckoned, drawing the timid Su Xiao Xiao into his embrace, muttering, "This thing, drinking it daily, doesn't it make your heart feel warm?" Su Xiao Xiao, blushing, curled her neck in shyness, shivering slightly, and softly replied with a faint emma. "Therefore, you need someone to help dissipate that warmth. Only then can you grow completely." Qin Lang, with a gentle and coaxing demeanor, resembled the cunning wolf that deceived Little Red Riding Hood. Next time you find yourself in such a situation, do not hesitate to seek me out. Although I am often preoccupied, I will spare no effort in assisting you in this regard. Do you understand? Su Xiao Xiao felt a surge of panic. Her mind was a tumultuous blur. She felt as if she were engulfed by flames, her cheeks flushed with a vibrant hue. Yet she hesitated to extricate herself from the embrace of her master. With a furrowed brow, Su Xiao Xiao inhaled sharply, her head colliding against Qin Lang's chest, betraying her distress. "Does it hurt?" Qin Lang halted his movements. Resting her head against his heart, Su Xiao Xiao's voice wavered. "It doesn't hurt, master." How to describe Su Xiao Xiao? She was a girl of innocence, yet bound by inner turmoil. At times, before she was truly possessed, she wished to hold on a little longer. Even though she understood that once a girl was easily won, the likelihood of being taken for granted increased. Yet, when faced with the reality of intimacy, she found herself overcome by trepidation, momentarily forgetting the essence of rejection. Ultimately, her fear stemmed from the apprehension that her refusal might invoke Qin Lang's disdain, potentially causing a rift between them and leading to their inevitable separation. Su Xiao Xiao was a traditional and naive girl. In her heart, once she had given herself, she belonged solely to her master for life. Having endured hardships in her childhood, she had matured. What other adversities could truly frighten her now? Moreover, even if she were reluctant to admit it, Every time her master acted in such a manner, she could not help but feel a profound sense of happiness. You foolish girl, if you are uncomfortable, why conceal it from me? Qin Lang affectionately ruffled Su Xiaoxiao's hair and produced a cleansing pill from within his pocket. Placing it in her mouth, swallow it. With a gulp, Su Xiaoxiao consumed the pill. Her curiosity piqued afterward. Master, what did you just give me? It tasted sweet and rather delightful. Qin Lang, with a mischievous grin, replied, It's a little pill that will enable you to reveal your true desires. Is it a truth serum? The notion struck Su Xiaoxiao immediately, only to be replaced by embarrassment at her own thoughts. Surely, there was no such thing as a truth serum. What her master had given her was clearly something that would make a girl quite shameless. Before Qin Lang could respond, his lips were silenced. Su Xiaoxiao had initiated a kiss. Qin Lang's eyes widened in astonishment. Xiaoxiao, why have you suddenly become so audacious? A kiss is one thing, but you refuse to pull away? With cheeks flushed as if intoxicated, Su Xiaoxiao stammered, Master, I feel as if the effect of the pill is taking hold. A warmth enveloped her entire being. Was this not the manifestation of the pill's influence? Why maintain any pretense? After all, she had been fed the pill by her master. Seizing the moment, she resolved to pour forth the love that had long been pent up within her heart. In the past, she had always been passive, but this time, she yearned to savor the taste of the young master's lips. Xiaoxiao, you've misunderstood. It is not as you think. This is a pill that can enhance the human constitution, expelling impurities from your body and elevating your physical condition. Qin Lang, feeling somewhat out of control, quickly interjected to clarify. What would he do? According to the description of the cleansing pill, it would indeed eliminate impurities upon consumption. If the situation escalated to the point where Su Xiaoxiao began to sweat darkly, what then? Given Su Xiaoxiao's innocent nature, should she embarrass herself in front of him, she would likely avoid seeing him for an extended period, let alone being together. The balance between momentary pleasure and prolonged enjoyment was something Qin Lang felt he could navigate. What? How could this be? Su Xiaoxiao lowered her gaze at the unusual sweat stains on her arms, feeling both shy and frightened. With a pitiful look, she gazed at Qin Lang, reproachfully murmuring, Young master, you are so naughty. Please go wash up in the bathroom. Let us hold off on any activities tonight. This pill's effects may last for some time. Qin Lang pinched her cheek gently and urged her, What is meant to happen will happen. From the moment the sense of crisis had emerged, he had already devised a plan to send Su Xiaoxiao away. Fortuitously, the cleansing pill would enhance her constitution and allow her to enjoy a lengthy stay in the bathroom, facilitating his subsequent endeavors. The Scarlet Mandrake, the proud female assassin, a top 3 killer on the assassin's leaderboard, comparable to the fated daughter of destiny. If you possess the skill, come and test it. Let us see whether your notorious reputation in the assassin's realm holds up against my villainous tactics. Chapter 88. The Scarlet Mandrake's Assassination in the Depths of Night. Within the shadows of the villa, a nimble figure darted about. In the past, bodyguards had been stationed nearby, but tonight, Qin Lang had deliberately instructed them to attend a gathering. The Scarlet Mandrake, light-footed, easily infiltrated the villa, drawing upon her assassin's experience. She quickly identified Qin Lang's bedroom and stealthily entered. Upon seeing the figure beneath the covers, a surge of murderous intent welled within her, and she thrust her dagger into the bedding. Thud! 1 stab, 2 stabs, 3 stabs. No blood? What is happening? Confusion filled the Scarlet Mandrake's beautiful eyes as she peeled back the covers, revealing not Qin Lang, but a human-shaped silicone doll. Bang! The door slammed shut, and Qin Lang stood behind it, smiling mischievously at the Scarlet Mandrake, who had just stabbed the dummy thrice. With a cold chuckle, he remarked, What a ruthless method. You seek to end me simply for taking back a prey you claimed? Those who steal my prey deserve death. The Scarlet Mandrake's pupils contracted. She quickly regained her composure and lunged at Qin Lang with her dagger raised. Her strength was formidable. Even a previously encountered Yi Feng at Mangdang Mountain was no match for her. How much less so a wealthy young man? In the eyes of the blood-red mandala, Qin Lang was nothing but an arrogant fool, daring to meet her alone, oblivious to his impending doom. Failing to assassinate him, she decided to crush him with sheer power. A dagger, glimmering with a sinister black light and laced with poison, was aimed at Qin Lang's throat. It should have been an effortless execution of a life. But due to Qin Lang's slight evasion, it missed its mark. Moreover, with his body angled, he executed a swift kick to her groin. Even though blood-red mandala was a woman, she bent over in agony, gritting her teeth and growling fiercely. You shall die. She was ranked among the top 3 on the assassin's leaderboard, harboring an absolute pride in her identity as a killer. Qin Lang had stolen her prey and threatened her like a mere animal, which severely crossed her bottom line. Now, publicly humiliated by Qin Lang, she could no longer contain her rage. With a second poison dagger drawn, she wielded it in both hands, launching a furious assault upon him like a torrential rain of petals. Dual wielding? How intriguing. A faint smile graced Qin Lang's lips as he observed the menacing blood-red mandala, moving with an air of nonchalance, dancing on the edge of danger as if on the tips of blades. No matter how frenzied blood-red mandala became, she could not inflict a single scratch upon him. By calculations, her physique likely did not exceed 100, at best matching the unbroken Yifeng. It must be noted that Qin Lang's physique had reached 302. In terms of dynamic vision and reaction speed, he far surpassed blood-red mandala. Growing somewhat weary of the game, Qin Lang yawned, casually swatting away her 2 daggers. He seized her delicate wrists, twisting them behind her back and pinning her against the wall. Don't move. How can you be so strong? Blood-red mandala's voice trembled with disbelief. She had arrived at the foot of the cliff only after Qin Lang had slain Yifeng. Initially believing that he had merely relied on the firepower of his bodyguards to defeat him, never anticipating that this man possessed such formidable strength. Unexpected. Is this what you call powerful? I have even greater strength yet to reveal. Qin Lang scoffed, retrieving a red rope from his system backpack, binding her wrists together and wrapping it around her form. In no time, the enchanting curves of blood-red mandala were ensnared in a peculiar, tight knot. She could not move, forced to lie on the ground, whimpering as rage and humiliation ignited in her beautiful eyes. She had never endured such disgrace. It was a profound humiliation. She longed to devour Qin Lang's flesh and blood to cleanse the stain of her indignity. Crouching before her, Qin Lang removed his black mask, revealing a visage of exceptional beauty. His peach blossom eyes seemed to ensnare souls, a potent blend of murderous intent and shame, making him irresistibly captivating. Kill me. The blood-red mandala clenched her teeth, her voice cold and commanding, yet the bindings constrained her, causing her icy tone to tremble with unease. Qin Lang gently caressed the cheek of the blood-red mandala, marveling, such a beautiful visage. Clearly, one could thrive on mere looks. Why then, engage in such dangerous pursuits? Enough of your nonsense. Either kill me or release me. Once I find an opportunity, I will surely eliminate you. The blood-red mandala, overwhelmed with agitation, leaned forward, her exquisite face pressing against the cold ground, while her elegantly curled legs rose behind her. Qin Lang, with a hint of kindness, pressed down on her lovely back and replied, "Do not be so agitated. What if you injure yourself? Do not touch me," the blood-red mandala exclaimed, for she detested any form of physical contact, especially from men. Observing her seething with animosity, Qin Lang pondered, is this what they call misandry? Has it truly permeated her being to such an extent that one stolen prey warrants a death sentence? That merely brushing against her ignites murderous intent? After all, he was now a skilled physician, dedicated to the noble cause of healing. How could he turn a blind eye to a patient ravaged by a virus? To achieve great things is to benefit the world. If the blood-red mandala harbored such fears, it was imperative to aid her in overcoming this psychological shadow. A minute later, the room echoed with heart-wrenching screams. Qin Lang, I shall kill you. Chapter 89. The Child of Fortune, Chun Ping. An hour later, the beautiful eyes of the blood-red mandala regained their spark, glaring at Qin Lang with malice. You better kill me, or I will stop at nothing to slay you. With that declaration, I feel reassured, Qin Lang replied as he untied the crimson ropes binding her. You may leave now. I eagerly await your next assassination attempt. However, I must inform you, tonight luck is on your side, and my mood is favorable. Otherwise, I would not have shown such kindness in treating you. The blood-red mandala struggled on the ground, trembling as she stood. She yearned to confront Qin Lang, but her body betrayed her, rendered weak as if under the influence of anesthesia, leaving her barely able to walk. She resolved to regain her strength and seek vengeance upon Qin Lang. I will not rest until he is dead. Bang! The door slammed shut as the blood-red mandala departed, leaving behind a cold, resentful gaze, as if she would return at any moment. Qin Lang wore a knowing smile, untroubled by her potential pursuit, yet anxious about her fleeing far away. After tonight's encounter, even if offered 10 billion assassination contracts, she would lack the spirit to undertake them. Her mind was consumed by a singular thought, to eliminate him. Let it go. It will eventually return. Moreover, the blood-red mandala is marked by clear grievances, only targeting those who provoke her, leaving those around her untroubled. This creature is nothing more than a benevolent entity that occasionally intrudes upon his bedroom at night to alleviate his boredom. Shouldn't it be nurtured properly? A night of sweet dreams. The following morning, Su Xiaoxiao rose early to prepare breakfast before heading to the orphanage to look after the children. While enjoying his meal, Qin Lang glanced at the approaching Junzi and asked nonchalantly, "Have matters been resolved?" Junzi, somewhat embarrassed, scratched the back of his head and admitted, "The issues have been addressed, but the benefits have all accrued to me. The previous dismantling of the Black Dragon Society, the framing regarding the sale of milk powder, and the recent large-scale brawl. These 3 cases had propelled Junzi up 3 ranks. He now held a position of authority, and his status had elevated to that of a 1-star warrior. With a higher position, tasks became more manageable." Qin Lang nonchalantly sipped his millet porridge and continued, "By the way, I have a matter for you. Please assist me in arranging a transfer to Tianhai University." Junzi had no doubts, merely nodding in agreement. What was there to ponder? The young master had graduated over 2 years ago. At this juncture, seeking admission to a university could only be for the purpose of courting women, or what other reason could there be? However, he found himself curious, merely to pursue women. Even if it was the campus belle, did the young master truly need to go through the hassle of a transfer? What he was unaware of was Qin Lang's determination to enroll at Tianhai University. For there wasn't just a single heroine, several prominent female figures resided within its walls. The next destined child of fortune, Chun Pingyan, had his first task after descending the mountain, to protect the campus beauty, Chu Mingyao. Moreover, the narratives involving the campus belles occupied a significant portion of the unfolding plot. He needed to intercept opportunities from their source while also collecting some villain points to indulge in a lottery. As Junzi departed to attend to the transfer, Mu Yuyin entered. Her high heels clicking on the floor, her expression fraught with urgency and anxiety. Cough, cough. Just as Qin Lang was lost in thought about the shadows, he inadvertently choked on his millet porridge, coughing twice. What was this? Seeing this, Mu Yuyin rushed forward, her delicate hand gently patting his back. "Are you all right? Did you hurt yourself? How could you be so reckless? Why did you go to Mangdang Mountain?" "What?" Qin Lang turned, puzzled. He struggled to comprehend the reason behind Mu Yuyin's anxious demeanor. "Is it really necessary?" Mu Yuyin began to lament bitterly. "Even if I had erred in the past, you need not draw such stark lines between us. I am aware. Aining informed me. She said you went to Mangdang Mountain with Junzi and the others last night to eliminate some high-ranking assassins, correct? These matters could have been left to Junzi and the others. Why did you feel the need to show off?" Early in the morning, Mu Yin subtly inquired about Qin Lang's whereabouts from Ning, compelling her to contact Junzi, which ultimately revealed that Qin Lang had ventured to Mangdang Mountain the previous night. Furthermore, Junzi mentioned that Qin Lang had sustained injuries. Upon hearing this, Mu Yuyin could hardly remain composed. She left a neatly arranged stack of documents in her office unattended and hurried to Qin Lang's residence. "Where exactly are you hurt? Don't sit there. Let me assist you back to your room to rest." Mu Yuyin supported Qin Lang's arm, guiding him toward the bedroom upstairs. After a considerable effort, she managed to place him gently on the bed, then began to feel around his body to check for injuries. "I have internal injuries, which are not visible from the outside." Qin Lang coughed, placing his fist to his mouth, and forced a bitter smile. "Right now, I feel like a useless person, devoid of strength. I could hardly fend off even a girl." He shook his head, a hint of melancholy in his demeanor. As Mu Yuyin continued her examination, her hand inadvertently brushed against him a bit too intimately, causing her to retract her palm in surprise. His words echoed in her mind. "I could hardly fend off even a girl." Did that imply she had become stronger than him? "What do you intend to do? I warn you, do not act recklessly. Some things cannot be altered in sequence. We must follow our hearts." Qin Lang, taken aback by Mu Yuyin's increasingly bold gaze, widened his eyes in alarm and shouted. However, Mu Yin was resolute. Her mind had been consumed by thoughts of Qin Lang over the past few days. There was no turning back. She was determined to heed her heart. She felt regret and fear. If she did not establish some connection with Qin Lang now, there might be no possibilities left for them in the future. Qin Lang watched as Mu Yuyin drew nearer, swallowing nervously and retreating. "Mu Yuyin, are you out of your mind? If you dare to do this, I will not let it go." "Calm down, Mu Yuyin. Let's talk this out. There might be some misunderstandings between us. You cannot proceed like this. I am not the person you think I am. Even if you continue down this path, I could never give my heart away." Mu Yuyin, Do you believe that once I recover, I will confront you? Don't move. You are injured. Mu Yiyan gently caressed Qin Lang's cheek, her beautiful eyes filled with deep affection. Qin Lang pushed her away, urging her to sit upright, his expression turning cold. Mu Yiyan, I truly misjudged you. I never expected you to be this kind of person, taking advantage of my serious internal injuries to pursue me. Had Mu Yiyan heard such words a day prior, her heart would have raced with anxiety. But now, she could discern Qin Lang's underlying thoughts. His words were merely a fade. He was undoubtedly upset with her past actions. Even Mu Yiyan herself could not fathom why she felt as though she was acquainted with two distinct individuals when it came to Qin Lang. Prior to her arrival in Tianhai City, she had harbored an intense disdain for him. Every encounter was filled with an overwhelming urge to silence him, wishing to stifle his incessant chatter with her stockings. However, upon her arrival in Tianhai City, the Qin Lang she encountered bore no resemblance to the man she once loathed. What began as habitual antagonism gradually transformed into an alluring attraction, a transition that occurred imperceptibly. It was not until the fear of loss gripped her, prompting the unprecedented actions she took today, that she felt no remorse. In fact, a secret delight bubbled within her, convinced that today she had placed her bet wisely. As for the reasons behind her feelings, though Qin Lang's words were laced with curses, his body conveyed an undeniable truth. Time seemed to stretch, yet an entire hour slipped by. Her cheek rested against Qin Lang's heart as she embraced his neck, murmuring softly, Qin Lang. In that moment, her heart overflowed with affection, and she experienced no embarrassment. Her mind was entirely consumed by thoughts of him. She felt compelled to express her feelings, to reveal her love for Qin Lang. The prospect of rejection or humiliation did not cross her mind. After a brief pause, Mu Yiyan nestled against him, showing no intention of leaving. Qin Lang struggled to retrieve a cigarette, lit it, inhaled deeply, and released a smoke ring. Mu Yiyan looked up, her beautiful eyes reflecting a hint of peculiarity. Qin Lang chuckled, I seem to have forgotten that you dislike the smell of smoke. If it's unbearable, you may leave. I cannot escort you. Mu Yiyan's eyes sparkled as she took the cigarette from his hand, inhaling from it, only to be overwhelmed by a fit of coughing, expelling a chaotic plume of smoke, devoid of any semblance of a ring. She stubbornly shook her head. What you enjoy I will strive to accept, although I still dislike the smell of smoke. At least I can say I no longer detest it. Moreover, even if I wish to leave now, I find myself unable to do so. Will you forgive me? I promise not to oppose you any longer. I truly do not understand what has come over me. I used to find you utterly insufferable, yet now, a single day without seeing you leaves my heart feeling desolate. I have never pursued a boy before, but I am certain I have developed feelings for you, deep, profound feelings. You may scold or berate me as you wish. I have resolved to be shameless. Even if you dismiss me, I will not depart. Even if you do not accept me tomorrow, I will still seek you out. Mu Yiyan laid her head against Qin Lang's chest, speaking fervently. Qin Lang listened in Zilengsa, his heart filled with contemplation. Though they shared the same name, they were undeniably different individuals. A sense of accomplishment surged within him. With a soft clap on Mu Yiyan's back, Qin Lang remained silent. She gazed up at him in confusion. Was that it? Such a light touch? Have you forgiven me? Qin Lang rolled his eyes in exasperation. Some understandings require time and nurturing to develop. Chapter 91. Words must be kept. Waiting for the rabbit ding. Congratulations to the host for capturing the leading lady, Mu Yiyan, rewarding 50,000 villain points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 10,001 villain points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10,002 villain points. Mu Yiyan lay in Qin Lang's embrace, sleeping soundly until the evening, when a shrill ring of her phone jolted her awake. Rubbing her sleepy eyes, she noticed Qin Lang perched at the head of the bed, his gaze averted in a bashful manner. The earlier tempestuousness had finally subsided, and now, facing Qin Lang, she felt an inexplicable sense of humility. Not answering the phone? Qin Lang inquired, glancing at the bag resting on the floor with a quizzical expression. Mu Yiyan murmured softly, It's a company dinner. I was supposed to go, but now I don't want to go anywhere. She had no other thoughts occupying her mind. The dinner and socializing had long been cast aside. All she desired was to remain with Qin Lang. Feeling the pangs of hunger, Qin Lang chuckled, albeit somewhat indistinctly. It's nearly dinner time. And you're not considering my feelings? Su Xiao had matters to attend to that evening and would not return until late. Otherwise, Qin Lang would not be so intimately entwined with Mu Yiyan at this moment. Man is iron, rice is steel. One meal missed makes one uneasy. Mu Yuyin shivered slightly, retracting her neck as she hesitantly stammered, "If you agree to one request of mine, I'll cook for you. All right? A request?" Qin Lang echoed, his expression souring slightly. Was he too easily won over, leaving Mu Yuyin feeling unfulfilled? Was she already demanding more? With her head bowed, Mu Yuyin timidly whispered, "Just give me a kiss. Just one, okay?" From the morning until now, Qin Lang had not even brushed against her cheek, and she felt a lingering sense of disappointment, as though she had not received the affection a girl ought to have. Smack! Qin Lang planted a kiss on Mu Yuyin's cheek. She then rose, intending to take a shower, before heading to the kitchen to prepare a meal. After her bath, Mu Yuyin dutifully busied herself in the kitchen, humming a tune while following a recipe on her phone, somewhat clumsily crafting a few homely dishes. Though they may not have appeared particularly exquisite, they were edible, unlike the foolish girl portrayed in novels who often blew up gas canisters or set things ablaze. A girl as capable as Mu Yuyin, even without extensive kitchen experience, could still manage well if she was willing to learn. Such elementary mistakes could hardly occur. Moreover, she had assisted her mother in the kitchen on several occasions. She resolved to cook more at home whenever she had the chance. Remembering her mother's words, "To win a man's heart, one must first capture his stomach." She is certainly unable to manage it now, but her mother can. If it becomes too difficult, we can wait until her mother's health improves and let her recuperate in Tianhai City for a while, learning from her mother afterwards. "Drink some soup. Your complexion seems a bit pale." Mu Yuyin ladled a bowl of pork rib soup and placed it in front of Qin Lang. He took a gentle sip, savoring the flavor, while Mu Yuyin stood beside him, her beautiful eyes fixed upon him. Noticing he swallowed, she eagerly inquired, "How does it taste? Is it too salty or too bland?" "If it's too salty, I can add some water and cook it again. If it's too bland, I can add more salt." "The flavor is quite acceptable. It's already commendable to prepare it this way," Qin Lang replied nonchalantly. "You aren't a chef, so why concern yourself so much? But I want to know your preferred taste. It's not like I'm only cooking for you once," Mu Yuyin retorted, dragging her chair closer and sitting beside Qin Lang. She began to serve him an abundance of vegetables, propping her chin on her hand and watching intently. "Try each one. If you find any unappetizing, I can improve it next time." Qin Lang felt somewhat uneasy under her gaze, suddenly realizing that Mu Yuyin had become overly enthusiastic. This demeanor made her seem as if she had taken on the role of a devoted wife. However, to be honest, this feeling was rather pleasant. Regardless of their identities, no one would mind being cared for in such a manner. Mu Yuyin sought to draw nearer to Qin Lang, intentionally shifting her chair forward, but inadvertently bumped her calf, causing her to gasp in pain. Although Qin Lang appeared indifferent, he nonetheless produced a cleansing elixir and placed it in her mouth. After she swallowed, she suspiciously asked, "What kind of candy is this? It's quite sweet." Before long, she felt a warmth enveloping her body, accompanied by beads of dark sweat forming. Qin Lang took a sip of the pork rib soup and casually remarked, "It's a type of medicine more miraculous than beauty pills, capable of enhancing one's physical constitution. With your current physique, how long will it be before you can wait for me to recover?" Upon hearing this, Mu Yin's beautiful eyes shimmered with a misty glimmer. Although Qin Lang's tone was rather indifferent, she gleaned the preciousness of the cleansing elixir from his words, leaving her with an indescribable sense of gratitude. Today, she had truly made the right bet. After dinner, under Qin Lang's intimidating presence, Mu Yin feared embarrassing herself in front of him and quickly summoned Aining to drive her back to her residence. As the sun set, a chilling sense of crisis permeated the air, sending shivers down her spine. Qin Lang leisurely retrieved a hook from the storage room, returned to his bedroom, and firmly drove the hook into the ceiling. As night deepened, the door to the bedroom creaked open, revealing the blood mandala in a dark outfit once again. However, this time, Qin Lang did not treat the unfortunate Huijia as a mere substitute, but instead leaned back against the headboard, smiling as he observed the graceful figure of Blood Mandala. "You've arrived?" Uncertain of the reason, the blood-red Mandala, who had come seeking vengeance, felt an inexplicable urge to yield. Before she could take action, Qin Lang, driven by curiosity, inquired, "Why do assassins always enter through the front door instead of the window?" The blood-red Mandala, her expression cold, retorted, "Do you think I'm unaware that the windows are fortified with bulletproof glass? Even if one were to unleash an assault rifle upon it, it would withstand for a time. Not to mention, acquiring an assault rifle is no small feat. And even if I had one, what good would it do? By the time I am ready, the target would have long escaped. Besides, I am an assassin, not a machine gunner." "Quickly, change into this," Qin Lang said, tossing a set of clothes at her. The blood-red mandala gritted her teeth in frustration. Qin Lang, you truly deserve to die. Qin Lang rolled his eyes and replied, whether I deserve to die or not, what does it matter to you? Can you defeat me? I've already discovered your intentions. So what is the point of your bravado? Here, take this opportunity to wear these clothes, and I shall allow you one hand. Are you serious? The blood-red mandala glanced at the garments on the floor. While they were somewhat lacking in quality, if it meant diminishing Qin Lang's combat efficacy, she found it acceptable. After all, what reservations did she have before him? Speak your mind and make haste, Qin Lang urged. With gritted teeth, the blood-red mandala picked up the clothing and stepped outside. When she re-entered, clad in a sleek black leather outfit, her curvaceous figure was perfectly accentuated. Qin Lang approached her and executed a sweeping kick that sent the blood-red mandala sprawling to the ground. He pressed her arm behind her back with his knee and threatened, Are you subdued? The blood-red mandala trembled with rage. I refuse to submit. You struck from ambush. Ambush? Qin Lang chuckled despite himself. You are an assassin, engaged in covert killings, yet you dare accuse me of ambushing you? Did I not make it clear that I would not strike first? Moreover, I have yet to employ one of my arms. My words remain unbroken. Should you possess the prowess, release me, and let us face each other in a fair duel. The blood-red mandala felt the familiar, frigid ground beneath her, her voice seething with anger. Qin Lang rolled his eyes. Why on earth would I wish to engage in another battle? It is merely one arm, and I can still prevail. He deftly bound her. You concede? Yield. Release me, and I shall not return tomorrow night. For the first time, the blood-red mandala showed signs of submission before Qin Lang. Now you comprehend fear? Qin Lang lightly patted her exquisite cheek. The blood-red mandala struggled to suppress her fury, gritting her teeth in reluctant assent. Realizing your own limitations now? I understand, she replied as Qin Lang hoisted her up. I was wrong. I acknowledge my mistake. Please release me. The blood-red mandala pleaded in terror. Even in death, she wished to avoid such humiliation. Now you fear? Alas, it is too late. Qin Lang remarked with a roll of his eyes. The blood-red mandala, filled with trepidation, yearned to struggle, yet Qin Lang had already secured her, leaving no room for her to act recklessly. Qin Lang, I will kill you. If you do not eliminate me, I shall find an opportunity next time and ensure you suffer 1,000 cuts. Qin Lang, I crave your flesh and thirst for your blood. I hold a grudge against you that cannot be reconciled. The mandala roared. The soundproofing of the bedroom was commendable. Otherwise, one might think a dire event was unfolding. Qin Lang extinguished the lights, retrieved earplugs from his system backpack, and succumbed to sleep while listening to music. It was not that he refrained from taking action against the blood-red mandala. Rather, she was undeniably formidable and a potential candidate for cultivation. As a divine physician, Qin Lang felt obligated to assist her in overcoming her misandry. Only by shattering her pride could he hope to subdue her, a female assassin ranked third on the killer's list, making her a valuable asset for covert operations. The following morning, after being released, the blood-red mandala staggered to her feet, nearly dragging herself along the wall. Just before her departure, she cast a glance back at Qin Lang, her eyes brimming with an intensity of murderous intent. In the ensuing days, Qin Lang found himself relatively unoccupied, occasionally contemplating strategies to outmaneuver the child of fate. At times, he would diligently tutor Bai Xiaoyun with her assignments, while also discussing significant business matters with Bai Ruyu. Yet his evening activities remained monotonous, persistently aiding the ailing blood-red mandala, who tirelessly sought his medical expertise. On Friday, the weather was clear, and the patient, the blood-red mandala, visited during the night. Qin Lang took pleasure in dismantling her pride. Saturday brought overcast skies with a light rain. As the patient arrived seeking treatment, she began to exhibit signs of madness, prompting Qin Lang to silence her with a cloth. On Sunday, the weather cleared, yet the patient had inadvertently left her fruit knife at Qin Lang's residence. When she arrived at night without it, he offered her the knife, only for her to hurl it to the ground in frustration. Qin Lang, irate, struck her thigh in a fit of anger. Chapter 93. The stunning Professor Zhou Ziqing. Yet another deep night fell, with the sun just having dipped below the horizon when the blood-red mandala arrived several hours early. Perhaps the efficacy of her treatment was evident, as even she felt the improvement. She came earlier each day. Alas, time was scarce, and Qin Lang had to regretfully inform her that he could not continue her treatment. As she turned to leave, a glance back revealed a reduction in her murderous intent, replaced by a hint of lingering resentment. Ding! The protagonist, the blood-red mandala, experienced emotional fluctuations. Congratulations to the host for gaining 1,000 villain points. Ding! The fortune of the Child of Destiny, Chun Pingyan, decreased by 500 points. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 10,000 villain points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for intercepting the Child of Destiny's opportunity, rewarded with a peach blossom charm. Listening to the system notifications, Qin Lang felt a wave of emotion. The blood-red mandala had been increasingly diligent in her visits, but now, with no time left, she simply turned and left in a huff. Indeed, women can be quite capricious. Fortunately, she had provided him with 1,000 villain points. Otherwise, he would have suffered a significant loss. Upon opening the system panel to examine the sources of income, Qin Lang was astounded to discover that the luck points of the Chosen One had diminished. He was no longer receiving a 10-fold return, but was now able to acquire a 20-fold return of the Destiny villain value. Chun Pingyan's luck value had decreased by 500 points, and he had thus obtained 10,000 points of Destiny villain value. If Yifeng was akin to a sheep raised freely, then Chun Pingyan was undoubtedly a sheep that had run away from home for several years. Why? Because this particular sheep had wandered outside for years without ever being sheared, resulting in an abundance of resources. He could pluck to his heart's content without a worry of becoming bald. Continuing his exploration, Qin Lang's gaze fell upon a striking crimson talisman inside the system's backpack. He retrieved the Peach Blossom Talisman and clicked on the annotation section. Peach Blossom Talisman, a one-time product that, when used, allows the host to randomly encounter a woman of fortune, continuously increasing mutual affection. Ding! Does the host wish to use the Peach Blossom Talisman? Yes. As soon as the words left his lips, the talisman transformed into a radiant beam of red light, dissipating into his being. Qin Lang surveyed himself from head to toe, noticing no abnormalities. However, being a product of the system, he had no concerns regarding its efficacy. He was merely curious as to which woman of fortune he might randomly encounter. To expedite its effects, Qin Lang rose with a spirit of experimentation and departed the villa. This evening, Junzi was on duty in the vicinity. Noticing the young master was leaving, he approached with curiosity, asking where he was headed. "I will fetch the car immediately." Qin Lang waved his hand dismissively, stating it was unnecessary and that he was just going for a stroll. If Junzi had nothing better to do, he could assist him in purchasing 2 electric massagers, specifically the larger ones that required 6 batteries. No, 8 batteries. Junzi did not inquire further, simply acknowledging with a hum and obediently departing to make the purchase. Meanwhile, Qin Lang exited the villa area and began to wander aimlessly down the street. Not long after, he heard a woman's cry for help emanating from a nearby alley. "Help! Help! What the hell? Is this really happening?" So mindlessly, Qin Lang stood frozen, gazing into the darkened alley, feeling a wave of incredulity. Truly, this was a scenario only a protagonist could encounter, and here he was, stumbling into such a foolish plot. He took a step forward towards the alley, where he beheld a group of 5 or 6 ruffians, adorned with brightly colored feathers, cornering a girl. No, rather a woman, within the depths of the alley, clad in a fitted white outfit and a black knee-length pencil skirt, complemented by black stockings and glossy pointed high heels. She epitomized a professional ensemble. What was particularly striking was the crimson glasses she wore, accentuating her already gentle features and lending her an air of intellectual sophistication. Zhou Zhiqing. This woman was undoubtedly the stunning Professor Zhou Zhiqing from the original text. There was no mistaking it. Those crimson glasses paired with her teacher's attire could only belong to the exquisite Professor Zhou Zhiqing. Qin Lang stepped forward and kicked a ruffian, sending him sprawling to the ground. Before the others could react, each received a swift kick, collapsing onto the floor. He exerted only a modicum of force. Otherwise, this group of miscreants would have met a grim fate. Instead, he approached with a smile as warm as spring, asking kindly, "Are you all right? Did they harm you in any way?" "Thank you. I'm fine," Zhou Zhiqing replied softly, adjusting her crimson glasses, her heart fluttering slightly. She continued, "Please wait here for a moment. I had already called the police when I noticed these people following me, and I pretended to be on the phone with a friend to inform them of my location. I intended to call for help to attract attention and prevent these ruffians from causing a scene, but unexpectedly, it brought you here and allowed you to subdue them." Intelligent, mature, refined, and gentle, with an alluring figure and the attributes of a stunning professor, Zhou Zhiqing was, in the original narrative, nearly a flawless goddess. During their first encounter, Qin Lang merely played the role of a passive enforcer. Without his presence, it is likely that Zhou Zhiqing would not have faced any trouble. Nevertheless, their initial meeting left no unpleasant impressions, fostering a sense of goodwill. Moreover, the charm of serendipity is not confined to a single encounter. There would be ample opportunities ahead. Glad to hear you're fine. I'll keep you company while we wait. Qin Lang smiled, standing nearby, occasionally stealing glances at Zhou Ziqing's exquisite visage. He had been pondering how to win over this captivating professor, and to his astonishment, the charm of serendipity seemed to be directed towards her. What extraordinary fortune. Before long, police cars arrived with sirens blaring. Several officers emerged, including a striking female officer clad in deep blue uniform. Please cuff these individuals. If convenient, you too. Kindly accompany me to provide statements, one officer instructed. Zhou Ziqing turned, smiling like a blooming water lily, and gently addressed Qin Lang. Do you have the time? If not, I can explain the situation and let you leave first. I feel quite guilty for having disturbed you today, and I wouldn't want to trouble you further. Since it's no major issue, and I find myself with some free time, I will be happy to accompany you. Qin Lang replied warmly. He felt a burgeoning curiosity. Was the charm of serendipity misinterpreted? Wasn't it supposed to lead to a random encounter with a woman of fortune? How was it that even a striking police officer, Chun Ziki, had appeared? The female officer stepping down from the police car exuded both confidence and allure, and without needing to gather photos of the women of fortune, he could confidently assert that this officer was undoubtedly Chun Ziki. In a single night, he had encountered two women of fortune. Had the charm of serendipity struck an extraordinary blow? Chapter 94. The clash of two fortunate maidens subsequently, amidst the blaring sirens of the police cars. Qin Lang and Zhou Ziqing were taken to the station together. However, they were questioned in different locations. Zhou Ziqing was in the main hall, where she proactively recounted the events surrounding the incident and how she had alerted the authorities. The recording officer occasionally gave her a thumbs up, admiring her wit and intelligence. Meanwhile, Qin Lang was escorted by Chun Ziki to a small, dimly lit interrogation room, furnished with a solitary wooden table and an exceptionally bright desk lamp. Chun Ziki sat opposite him, directing the lamp's glare into his eyes, her youthful visage marked by a stern expression. With a serious demeanor, she began to outline his personal history. 25 years old, a native of Yanjing, recently arrived in Tianhai City. After a lengthy monologue, her tone abruptly chilled as she inquired, "Were you present when a murder occurred at Mangdang Mountain a few days ago?" Qin Lang raised an eyebrow, aware of Chun Ziki's unwavering integrity as a police officer. Yet he was taken aback that she was even aware of the Mangdang Mountain incident. Surprised as he was, he felt no fear and retorted humorously, "Miss, have you made a mistake? I was merely acting heroically to save someone. Why are you questioning me about this? You've already recognized me. What more is there to discuss? ISNT, the Mangdang Mountain case resolved?" Chun Ziki scoffed. "The conflict on the assassin's list? Do you think the personnel at our station are fools? The bloodshed, injuries, and fatalities that were certainly not limited to those present at the scene. There has been an influx of injured patients at the Heilonglang private hospital these past few days, and they are undoubtedly connected to this matter. Qin Lang, I am aware of your background, and I know Lin Jun is associated with you. However, some actions, once committed, cannot be overlooked. You must face the consequences, regardless of who you are or who your father is. Surely you jest? You can't be serious about arresting me. Kindang feignet shuck. Be serious. This is no jest." Chun Ziki maintained her stern demeanor, her eyes brimming with indignation. She loathed the nonchalant attitude of privileged second-generation individuals. Upholding justice and unraveling the intricacies of cases was her lifelong ambition, deeply intertwined with the tragic fate of her own family during her childhood. This past had rendered her particularly unforgiving towards criminals. Qin Lang shrugged, reciting the classic words of Cad. "If that is how you feel, there is nothing I can do." At that moment, the door of the interrogation room swung open. A police officer entered, accompanied by Zhou Ziqing. "What is the matter? Do you not see that I am in the midst of an interrogation?" Chun Ziki reprimanded the officer curtly. The officer lowered his head in shame, unable to voice that he could not refuse Zhou Ziqing's request. Besides, Zhou Ziqing had valid reasons, and it was entirely reasonable for her to wish to see her savior, Qin Lang. Zhou Ziqing, clad in pointed high-heeled shoes, stepped into the interrogation room and, with a hint of suspicion, asked, "Officer, what do you mean by interrogation? This Mr. Qin Lang is a good man who saved my life. Why are you questioning him?" Chun Ziki's voice softened slightly. "This matter has nothing to do with you. It pertains to a separate case. If you have no further business here, you may leave for now." "Leave? How could I possibly depart? My savior is being interrogated by you. If I remain indifferent, Would that not chill the hearts of others? Zhou Zhiqing shook her head, stepping forward to stand beside Qin Lang. A refreshing fragrance wafted into Qin Lang's nostrils. She no longer spoke in a questioning tone, but adopted a more assertive demeanor, locking eyes with Chinziki. May I ask, do you possess any evidence of Qin Lang's criminal activity? Or was there a witness who has seen him committing any unlawful acts? Chinziki remained silent. Zhou Zhiqing continued her interrogation. If there is no evidence, on what grounds do you interrogate him? What authority do you hold? Is it merely because Mr. Qin saved my life and kindly accompanied me to the precinct to provide a statement, that you seize this opportunity to tarnish the goodwill of a virtuous person? Chinziki opened her mouth, wanting to defend herself. She was accustomed to dealing with criminals who harbored guilt, and a slight provocation could elicit a confession. However, now she faced the unyielding Qin Lang and the eloquent, logically astute, beautiful professor, leaving her at a loss for words. She was stuck. Initially, she intended to probe Qin Lang, as the case at Mangding Mountain was exceedingly peculiar, and the only one capable of orchestrating Lin Jun and his band of retired special forces was none other than Qin Lang. But now, with Zhou Zhiqing's relentless questioning, how could she continue to detain him? You may go. Chinziki glanced at Qin Lang and waved her hand. This was merely a temporary cessation of the interrogation. Once she secured evidence, she would undoubtedly return to trouble Qin Lang. Before Qin Lang could rise, Zhou Zhiqing placed a delicate hand on his shoulder. Gazing intently at Chinziki, I implore you to apologize to Mr. Qin for your impudence. If you genuinely find evidence against him, I will remember everything said today and extend my own apology. Is that really necessary? The nearby junior officer chuckled awkwardly. It was his first time witnessing the captain being cornered to such an extent, and he sympathetically interjected. Zhou Zhiqing shook her head, asserting the necessity. If you police exploit the goodwill of the innocent to apprehend criminals, I believe that violates the principles of arrest and undermines the sanctity of your profession, compelling me to question your professionalism. Incredible. Qin Lang, sitting in silence, suddenly felt compelled to rise and support Zhou Zhiqing from behind. How eloquently she spoke. Truly, she was an extraordinary professor from Tianhai University, leaving Chinziki visibly flustered. I apologize, Chinziki uttered coldly, offering no further remarks as she strode out of the interrogation room. Qin Lang watched her graceful figure, his intentions regarding this fortuitous woman shifting from mere encounter to a pursuit. Play with him? He still held an ace up his sleeve regarding Chinziki. Impressive. Keep up your bravado. Let's see how long you can maintain it. Mr. Qin, I sincerely apologize for the distress you have endured. Zhou Zhiqing managed a bittersweet smile. Qin Lang quickly shook his head, a warm smile adorning his face. No, I must apologize for startling you. The depth and richness of Huaxia culture is indeed profound and ancient. Even if Zhou Zhiqing were to possess boundless knowledge, she would not have thought in that direction. Instead, she took the initiative to invite him, saying, thanks to you, Mr. Qin, we might have encountered some misfortune otherwise. How about I treat you to a late-night snack? Would you fancy some noodles? Qin Lang, filled with doubt, asked, you will personally prepare them? Zhou Zhiqing shook her head. I would gladly prepare them for you. But I have matters to attend to this evening. I am visiting one of my students whose family runs a noodle shop. I thought, if you do not mind, it would be a wonderful opportunity to sample their delightful fare. Then it would be an honor to accept your invitation. Qin Lang replied earnestly, refraining from further jest. Although Zhou Zhiqing wore a smile, she concealed her true emotions deeply. There were few students with whom she had formed a close bond. And now she mentioned one whose family owned a noodle shop. Who could it be, other than the humble campus beauty, Lin Shi'er? Despite the allure of Zhou Zhiqing personally preparing the noodles for him, Qin Lang understood the importance of discretion and restraint. The two departed the precincts, hailing a cab that led them to the food street. Walking alongside a mature, intelligent, and stunning professor like Zhou Zhiqing drew the attention of passers-by. Fortunately, given Qin Lang's reputation as an antagonist, onlookers merely expressed envy and jealousy, without daring to utter any disparaging remarks. They halted in front of Xiao Lin's noodle shop. Upon seeing Zhou Zhiqing, the proprietress approached with familiarity, her face bright with a smile. Teacher Zhou, you've come. Is this your boyfriend? She cast a glance at Qin Lang, who stood beside Zhou Zhiqing, and noted his handsome demeanor. Even standing next to such a beauty as Zhou Zhiqing, he appeared perfectly matched. He is a friend of mine, here to sample your culinary skills tonight, Zhou Zhiqing explained with a smile, then turned to Qin Lang. What would you like to eat? I have always had a fondness for braised beef noodles, Qin Lang replied, glancing at the menu affixed to the table. Zhou Ziqing nodded and turned to the proprietress. Then we shall have 2 bowls of braised beef noodles. Certainly. Please take a seat, Teacher Zhou. I will fetch Shi-Er for you, the proprietress exclaimed, wiping her hands on her apron before hastily returning inside. The shop had set up a canopy outside, adorned with several folding tables and chairs. Qin Lang and Zhou Ziqing sat across from each other. In a rare moment, Zhou Ziqing took the initiative to ask Mr. Qin, "What do you do?" "Me? I am but a prodigal, living off my family's wealth," Qin Lang candidly replied. "However, I have recently managed to transfer to Tianhai University, hoping to acquire some knowledge to ensure that I do not squander my family's legacy when the time comes to take over the family business." "Is that so? You just transferred? What is your major?" Zhou Ziqing inquired with curiosity. Qin Lang shrugged. "International trade and economics." "International trade, is it?" Zhou Ziqing was taken aback, and then couldn't help but chuckle. "Perhaps I might still be your teacher." "Ahem, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Zhou Ziqing, a professor in the Chinese department at Tianhai University, and I also teach courses in several other disciplines. Currently, I am leading a class in international trade." Zhou Ziqing adopted a scholarly demeanor in front of Qin Lang, presenting herself with utmost seriousness. Qin Lang feigned ignorance and flatteringly remarked, "If I were truly assigned to Teacher Zhou's class, I would need to rely on your guidance in the future." Before Zhou Ziqing could respond, a girl clad in a floral long dress approached in an electric wheelchair from the noodle shop. She was graceful and ethereal, exuding a delicate charm. Her skin was tender, her expression cheerful, and her beautiful eyes sparkled with vivacity, her cheeks blushing with a smile. Her eyes resembled clear water, radiating an elegant aura that captivated onlookers and left them feeling unworthy of her presence. Yet this pure and stunning girl was confined to a wheelchair, unable to walk. "Teacher Zhou, what brings you here?" Lin Sierra exclaimed with joy. She shared a bond with Zhou Ziqing that transcended the typical student-teacher relationship. They confided in each other about everything, even personal matters that she would not disclose to her parents, always turning to Zhou Ziqing first. Zhou Ziqing smiled gently, as if she were greeting a beloved younger sister, and affectionately pinched Lin Sierra's cheek. "Why shouldn't I come? Or is it true what the class has been saying about you and Huang Wenbin? Have you found a boyfriend and forgotten about your sister?" Lin Sierra quickly shook her head. "No, that's not the case at all. Huang Wenbin and I have nothing going on. I've told him as much. But he just hasn't given up. He is not my type." She cast a glance at her legs, instinctively feeling a twinge of sadness. She was self-aware. Despite her pleasant appearance, being unable to walk was akin to a lifelong disability. "Ah, but you have no idea how many girls envy your breathtaking beauty," Zhou Ziqing exclaimed in admiration. Lin Sierra pouted. "Teacher, you just enjoy teasing me. I might believe others when they say that, but hearing it from such a beauty as yourself, I can't possibly feel happy about it." "Even teachers envy you," Zhou Ziqing remarked, glancing at Qin Lang beside her, playfully asking, "Do you agree with what the teacher just said, Qin Lang?" Qin Lang remained silent, frowning as he fixated on Lin Sierra's fair, delicate legs. Lin Sierra felt uncomfortable under his gaze, instinctively pulling her already long dress down a bit more. She hesitated to inquire. She had initially thought the tall boy accompanying Teacher Zhou was quite handsome, but now her feelings had soured. It was inappropriate for someone to stare at a girl's legs so brazenly, without even a hint of subtlety. "Mr. Qin Lang?" Zhou Ziqing softly prompted. "Huh?" Qin Lang appeared startled, as if awakened from a trance, and asked, "What is it?" Zhou Ziqing, with the intention of speaking well of Qin Lang, smiled and remarked, "Although she is quite beautiful, there is really no need to stare so intently. You're making her feel rather shy." Lin Xier rolled her eyes at Zhou Ziqing in mock reproach. However, Qin Lang felt no embarrassment whatsoever. Instead, he articulated a long-considered thought. "She is indeed lovely. Yet my curiosity prevails. This classmate sits in a wheelchair and, logically, should be unable to walk. Why then do her legs show no signs of atrophy, but rather appear so perfectly formed?" Lin Xier, the school beauty of humble origins, is depicted in the original work as a pure and pristine lotus, emerging from the mud untainted and washed by clear waters without allure. Despite her disability, which remains untreatable, her legs are remarkably straight, slender, and fair. This is a significant oversight by the negligent author, but seeing it with his own eyes, Qin Lang couldn't help but commend the author. How splendid! This could be enjoyed for an entire year. Chapter 96. Selling Zhou Ziqing's favor. Advanced medical skills displayed. Lin Xier lowered her head, unable to conceal her disappointment. She had been to the hospital numerous times for examinations, yet the specialists could not identify the true cause of her condition. They suggested it might be a neurological issue or perhaps a malfunction in the joint or bone marrow, but ultimately, she remained unable to stand. Kinlang, intrigued, inquiret. Do you have any sensation? Lin Xier shook her head, none. Something is amiss, Qin Lang mused. Her legs appeared so exquisite, delicate, and ethereal. If there truly was a problem with the bone marrow, they wouldn't be flourishing in such a healthy manner. And issues with the marrow would typically indicate a systemic disorder. Qin Lang pretended to be oblivious, donning a look of skepticism. Zhou Ziqing questioned, "Do you have knowledge of medicine?" Qin Lang nodded, "I understand a little." He glanced at Lin Xier, awkwardly opening his mouth as if to speak, but hesitating. Lin Elfia, unfazed, encouraged him, "Feel free to ask whatever you wish. After all these years, I no longer care about these matters. If I can't stand, then so be it. It's not as if I can't live." Qin Lang produced a silver needle, smiling, "I wish to test my medical skills and see if they are effective." Zhou Ziqing, anxious, cautioned, "If you're not well-versed, it's better not to take risks. Acupuncture is wondrous in traditional Chinese medicine, yet it can also lead to mishaps." Lin Elfia, however, appeared unconcerned. "It's fine. I have no sensation anyway. What harm could it do? Let's give it a try." Qin Lang stepped away from his seat, moving closer to Lin Xier's wheelchair. He deftly extracted silver needles and smoothly inserted them just below her slender waist. The advanced medical skills acquired through the system were no jest. Even Chen Pingyan, if present, might not rival Qin Lang's proficiency in medicine, at least not at this juncture, as Chen Pingyan had yet to reach the pinnacle of his medical journey. A tingling sensation, akin to tiny insects nibbling, coursed through Lin Xier. She smiled bitterly, however. "I originally did have sensation there." Just then, the proprietress emerged with 2 bowls of beef noodles. As she opened her mouth to inquire, Qin Lang swiftly delivered a light chop to Lin Xier's knee. Although the movement was slight, her left leg inadvertently formed a distinct arc. With a sudden thud, the proprietress stood frozen, her hands releasing 2 bowls of beef noodles that shattered upon impact, creating a chaotic scene, the broth splattering onto her calves. Yet she felt nothing. In a state of panic, she rushed forward, her voice rising in astonishment, tears welling in her eyes. "Xier, your leg is responding?" Lin Xier also widened her eyes in uncontainable joy. "The knee-jerk reflex. This is the knee-jerk reflex. How can this be? Both of my legs have been devoid of sensation. How could a knee-jerk reflex occur?" Qin Lang deftly manipulated the silver needles behind Lin Xier's back, inserting them deeper and then striking her knee with more force. Suddenly, one leg shot up swiftly, aligning directly with Qin Lang, who had just moved closer. He quickly lowered his head, and Lin Xier's left leg instinctively draped over his shoulder. She raised her gaze, only to hastily avert her eyes, still not entirely familiar with the situation. "Some basic decorum must be observed." "Ahem, I apologize, I might have applied a bit too much force." Qin Lang chuckled awkwardly, gently grasping her delicate, translucent ankle and placing her foot softly onto the footrest of the wheelchair. It seemed, then, that the issue was not one of joint friction or bone marrow. What could it be? Zhou Ziqing, Lin Xier, and the proprietress echoed in unison. Qin Lang's expression turned serious. "It is a neurological issue. This condition is highly likely to be misdiagnosed with current medical techniques. Even in the capital, there are very few top experts in this field, making it exceedingly difficult to treat. Little doctor, do you know any specialists in this area? Or can you cure Xier's ailment?" The proprietress's face was a mask of urgency. She should not have placed her faith in such a young man. Yet, the miraculous event she had just witnessed could not easily be dismissed. For 20 years, the consensus had been that her daughter's legs were devoid of sensation. Yet moments ago, this young man had elicited a knee-jerk reaction with just 2 needle pricks. What else could he be but a miraculous healer? I cannot be certain. I do know experts, but their availability is uncertain, and they are akin to imperial physicians. Furthermore, your daughter's legs are somewhat complicated and require careful adjustment. Otherwise, even if a Western medical expert were to assist, untangling the intricate nerves would prove challenging. A slight misstep could lead to lifelong paralysis, Qin Lang remarked, gritting his teeth while glancing at the eagerly expectant Zhou Ziqing. "I'm bound by my teachings. I should not intervene. Yet Miss Lin Xier shares a profound bond with Professor Zhou, and today I owe him a favor, so I shall contravene my principles this once." "Teachings? Nonsense." He said this intentionally, seeking to shift the rationale for treating Lin Xier onto Zhou Ziqing. It was akin to declaring before Lin Shi'er and her mother, Professor Zhou, "I have disregarded even my own teachings for your sake. Is that not commendable?" It was merely a matter of repaying a favor. Qin Lang did not perceive this as a waste of time. 3 individuals ascended to the 2nd floor of the noodle shop, under the watchful gaze of a few patrons. L'annonçeur est bedroom bord à minimaliste décor. She lay on the bed, her voice trembling as she expressed her apprehension. "Could you please be gentler when you administer the needles?" Qin Lang shook his head, insisting, "No, it must be firm. Only through intensity will you truly feel the pain. And that is essential. Fear not. The discomfort is only at the outset. Once time passes, you will gradually acclimate." "Ah, it hurts so much," Lin Elf exclaimed, raising her delicate chin in anguish. The proprietress, observing from the side, expressed her concern. "Little divine doctor, Shi'er is particularly sensitive to pain. So please be cautious and don't exert too much force." Qin Lang's hand moved methodically up Lin Shi'er's calf, occasionally accompanied by the insertion of silver needles. With each needle's placement and the upward motion of his hand, Lin Shi'er would take a sharp intake of breath, beads of sweat forming delicately on her smooth forehead. Zhou Zhiqing, listening to their conversation, found the situation somewhat peculiar, but refrained from interjecting, only able to comfort. Shi'er's sensation of pain indicates a response. "I never imagined Mr. Qin Lang possessed such remarkable skills." She reflected on her circumstances. Had she not been followed tonight, had she not cried out for help, Qin Lang would not have intervened, nor would he have been brought before Lin Shi'er. Was this perhaps the fabled concept of destiny? As half an hour passed, Qin Lang collapsed onto the bed, his head buried in the duvet. He turned to Lin Shi'er, who had also shifted her gaze away, and asked, "What do you feel?" "It's a peculiar sensation, somewhat tingly and numb." Lin Shi'er replied uncertainly, still experiencing some numbness in her legs. "I apologize for dampening your bed," Qin Lang said, regaining a modicum of strength as he shifted slightly, awkwardly wiping the sweat from his brow with a bitter smile. Lin Shi'er, still lying there, shook her head and expressed her gratitude. "Thank you. Although it is painful, I can sense my legs again." For the past 20 years, her family had taken her to countless hospitals, all to no avail. Not only had they failed to cure her, but they could not even ascertain the cause of her condition. Yet now, thanks to Qin Lang's intervention, her hope had been rekindled. Hope that was profoundly significant. Her legs had feeling. She could feel pain. Finally, she had the opportunity to become a normal girl. The proprietress approached, her anxiety evident as she inquired, "Little divine doctor, will Shi'er be able to walk?" Zhou Zhiqing gazed on with eager anticipation. Qin Lang, with a wry smile, gestured dismissively. "It is not so simple. After being paralyzed for 20 years, even if treatment is possible, it will not happen overnight. It requires gradual rehabilitation. If I have the time, I shall assist your daughter with several more massages to help her body recover. Additionally, I will reach out to top specialists in Yanjing to coordinate the specifics of her surgery, under the expertise of advanced medical skills." It is worth noting that Qin Lang alone could enable Lin Shi'er to stand briefly in a remarkably short period. However, it was merely a fleeting moment of standing up. In order to ensure that Lin Shi'er could walk without any concerns, he must collaborate with the foremost experts in this field for a thorough consultation. Only then could Lin Shi'er truly recover. His assertion was well-founded. Certainly not an attempt to increase his opportunities for contact with Lin Shi'er under the guise of treatment. Moreover, he had no intention of complicating the treatment process to showcase the considerable effort and connections he had expended to Lin Shi'er and her mother, as well as Zhou Zhiqing. "Thank you, little divine doctor. We are genuinely grateful for your willingness to help. If you can heal Shi'er, we..." The proprietress of the family grasped Qin Lang's hand tightly, overwhelmed with emotion. She wished to express her gratitude. Yet gazing upon Qin Lang's handsome visage and his remarkable medical skills and connections left her at a loss as to how her family could ever repay him. Not to mention, the top specialists in neurology in Yanjing were of imperial physician caliber. Who could possibly summon them? Although he had a morning consultation at a major hospital once a week, those slots were long since booked. Without Qin Lang's assurance, Lin Shi'er might never have the opportunity to meet such esteemed physicians in her lifetime. "Thank you so much, truly, thank you." The proprietress felt an urge to kneel, but Zhou Zhiqing restrained her. Qin Lang quickly assisted the proprietress to her feet, smiling as he said, "Auntie, please don't be so overwhelmed. I am equally delighted to be of assistance." Regarding her daughter's legs, he had observed them for quite a while earlier, not because he detected any issues, but rather because they were simply perfect. "Your daughter nearly mistook me for a villain," he added. Upon mentioning the earlier misunderstanding, Lin Sierra buried her face in the pillow, feeling a flush of embarrassment. She hadn't expected her inner thoughts to be so perceptively grasped by Qin Lang. Had she been too obvious in her demeanor? Or was Qin Lang simply too astute? Let us pause the treatment for tonight. Sierra needs some time to adapt. I will return when I can. Although he could have offered more words of comfort to ease the minds of Lin Sierra and her mother, he deliberately chose to remain vague, even omitting when he might visit again. This was a quintessential trait of a classic rogue. Before Qin Lang's next visit, Lin Sierra would be ensnared in a state of uncertainty, often reflecting on him. Of course, Qin Lang did not presume that such a brief encounter would elicit feelings of affection from Lin Sierra. But to keep her thoughts lingering on him was already a significant achievement. Subsequently, Qin Lang and Zhou Zuching descended the stairs, enjoying 2 bowls of noodles laden with beef. After a brief conversation and exchanging contact information, they parted ways. The following morning, Su Xiaoxiao lay in Qin Lang's embrace, rubbing her sleepy eyes and adorably pouting before planting a gentle kiss on his cheek. Can we sleep a little longer? You returned so late last night, and now we have to go to the orphanage again? Qin Lang tenderly caressed her head, feeling a pang of affection for her. Su Xiaoxiao obediently responded with a soft resting her head against his shoulder, playfully brushing her hair against Qin Lang's cheek. For reasons unknown, she found joy in such intimate moments with the young master, feeling a sweetness bloom within her heart, now that the orphanage had improved its environment, and the director had more energy to focus on teaching the children. Although I may not be particularly clever, I am capable of assisting with the little one's education. Qin Lang retorted, albeit with a hint of annoyance, that although the school was not yet constructed, he could recruit a few teachers in advance to alleviate her burdens. As it pained him to see her so tirelessly occupied. I quite enjoy teaching, Su Xiaoxiao murmured softly, placing her hand over Qin Lang's heart, her voice sweet and gentle. And at home, you refuse to let me do housework every day, so I might as well keep myself occupied. You, Qin Lang lightly tapped her forehead, exasperated. You can't just keep busy all day. Even if you're helping, you need to allow yourself time to rest. Always exhausting yourself without considering how I feel about it. Young master, Su Xiaoxiao's eyes shimmered with warmth, her heart aglow. A bit of busyness is fine. I originally intended to recruit teachers. Since you're willing to take on that role, let us consider it my recruitment of you. After a moment of contemplation, Qin Lang proposed, how about I pay you a salary? It wouldn't be fair for you to teach without compensation. No, I don't want a salary. Su Xiaoxiao gasped, tightening her embrace around Qin Lang's neck. I still owe you so much money. Teaching is something I willingly do, and I refuse to take a single penny. I could never repay all that I owe in this lifetime, so I shall serve you in the next life, and the one after that to repay my debts. Young girls, especially those as innocent as Su Xiaoxiao, fear loss most and understand the value of cherishing what they have. In her past, she struggled to express herself. Now, she had learned the art of repaying kindness. With a slight furrow of her brow, she leaned in and placed a kiss. There was nothing to be embarrassed about. After all, she was already the young master's. Chapter 98. Lin Yuchu, a single dog, deceived into this situation, encircled by danger. What have I done since my transmigration? Why am I constantly surrounded by women? Is this truly my new life? It shouldn't be like this. How disheartened. Qin Lang lay on his bed, his eyes vacant and confused, feeling utterly lost. After a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, his thoughts began to clarify, and understanding dawned upon him. What a wonderful life this is. What is there to complain about? Why had he harbored such despondent thoughts? Looking down, he suddenly comprehended. Oh, it turns out he had just experienced the sage time. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10,003 villain points. As the sun climbed higher, Su Xiaoxiao finally had the opportunity to pursue her dream of teaching at the orphanage, making her way out along the wall. Life is challenging, yet the journey must continue. Since there is no way to reverse the situation, one must learn to embrace enjoyment. Su Xiaoxiao has already begun to save her life. Meanwhile, Qin Lang, at the invitation of Mu Yuyan, attends a banquet. Due to the relationship established between Mu Yuyan and Qin Lang, the rift between Mu Yuyan and her dear friend Lin Yuchu has been mended. Lin Yuchu is not a girl who forgets kindness. To express her gratitude for the previous favor at the Queen's Bar, she specifically invited Qin Lang to dine through Mu Yuyan. The Maybach came to a halt at the entrance of the Kaiyuan Hotel, where Lin Yuchu and Mu Yuyan had been waiting for quite some time. Why does your complexion resemble my father's? So pale. Lin Yuchu exclaimed in surprise upon seeing Qin Lang. Qin Lang rolled his eyes. How could it not be pale? The exhaustion he had endured was immense. It's all right. Today I'll have the kitchen prepare a feast to replenish your spirits. Lin Yuchu confidently reassured him. The trio proceeded to the private room where their previous discord had occurred. Lin Yuchu lifted a glass of wine and earnestly expressed to Qin Lang, "Thank you for saving me last time. Had it not been for you, those rascals would have truly imprisoned me. I shan't say more. It's all in this drink." With a swift motion, she downed the small glass, leaving not a drop behind. "How bold!" Qin Lang, I, Lin Yuchu, declare that if you ever require assistance, do not hesitate to seek me out. I shall never refuse to help. As she sat down, the two conspicuous black orbs on her shirt, adorned with the image of a national treasure, caught the eye. After a moment of contemplation, Qin Lang inquired, "The best private hospital in Tianhai City is managed by your family, correct?" Lin Yuchu nodded. "Indeed, how did you know?" She continued, "Tianhai City is essentially the stronghold of our Lin family business. There are too many wealthy families in Yanjing, so our clan shifted the economic center to Tianhai City." Mu Yuyin interjected, astonished. "You Yuchu are involved in such profitable ventures?" Lin Yuchu proudly replied, "My family is affluent. The Lin family is naturally inclined towards business. We all possess a keen business acumen." Indeed, Qin Lang concurred wholeheartedly. When it comes to the Lin family's knack for profit, he could not agree more. In the realm of business, those who lack integrity and shamelessness tend to reap the greatest rewards. The Lin family is indeed audacious, a trait passed down through generations. The patriarch of the Lin family was among the most astute in wealth accumulation. The treasures he left behind, while not enough to rival a nation's wealth, certainly constitute a substantial fortune. How was it acquired? Through unscrupulous means, of course. To what extent? Upon his death, even the vines were obliterated. Qin Lang chuckled. "I may need to trouble you regarding a friend of mine in the future. I wanted to give you a heads up." He smiled, as he had no intention of seeking a top-tier specialist for Lin Sierre, as such notoriety would complicate his relationship with her. Furthermore, Lin Sierre's legs can recover significantly, achieving about 70 to 80% improvement through his treatment. A minor surgical procedure to realign the misplaced bones would suffice for complete healing. There is no need for experts of the highest caliber. Those words, directed at Lin Sierre and her mother, were intentionally crafted to complicate matters. Later, a discussion with Lin Yuchu could be arranged to orchestrate the necessary arrangements. As the conversation unfolded, waiters continuously brought forth exquisite dishes. A stir-fried delicacy, vibrant in color and aroma, was presented, arousing an undeniable appetite. Qin Lang's lips twitched in skepticism as he glanced at Lin Yuchu beside him. Was this truly the nourishment she promised? Lin Yuchu nodded earnestly, asserting that her father often turned pale and would invariably eat this dish, which proved effective. Mu Yuyin, filled with curiosity, delicately picked up a piece with her chopsticks, examining it closely, yet unable to identify it. "What dish is this? I have never seen it before, let alone tasted it," she inquired. Lin Yuchu opened her mouth, unsure where to begin her explanation. Qin Lang, however, chuckled lightly. "It's an organ beneficial for one's health." "An organ? What kind? Is it found in the human body?" Mu Yuyin, driven by an insatiable curiosity, turned to Qin Lang, her eyes sparkling with inquisitiveness, much like a student seeking knowledge from a teacher. "Well," Qin Lang pondered for a moment, "I possess such an organ, while Lin Yuchu does not." Mu Yuyin shook her head. "What about me?" With a serious expression, Qin Lang replied, "You have it sometimes, and sometimes you do not." Despite her unfamiliarity with the dish, Mu Yuyin comprehended the implication. Causing her to drop the piece, she held onto her skirt in surprise. Qin Lang raised an eyebrow, amusement dancing in his eyes. "Oh, this is intriguing. Chopped and stir-fried. And it still knows its way home? Such a bully." Mu Yuyin's exquisite cheeks flushed crimson as she cast an alluring glare at Qin Lang, hastily pushing the fallen piece off her skirt with her chopsticks. In playful annoyance, she lightly tapped his shoulder and huffed. "You are so annoying." Qin Lang shrugged. "Well, if I'm so bothersome, I simply won't let it return home next time. You're still here." Mu Yuyin, flustered, reached out to cover Qin Lang's mouth. They both turned their gazes towards Lin Yuchu. Lin Yuchu, on the verge of tears, opened her mouth to protest, but only managed to soft me. "Is this how it's going to be? I'm a host today," she thought, feeling like a solitary dog deceived into a trap, especially since she had been sidelined. Glancing down, she realized, oh, that piece is not for me. Chapter 99. The Heir of the Divine Physician in Yanjing. Unheralded, yet remarkable, could you refrain from flaunting your affection in front of me? Yuyan is my dearest friend. It would suffice if she were merely a target of your antics. But to do so right before my eyes? Lin Yuchu pouted her lips in a display of grievance. Her heart heavy with sorrow, pain, distress. An unsettling sensation gripped her heart, as if something of great significance had been forcibly taken away. Yuchu, despite your petite stature, you are not so young anymore. It is time for you to find a partner, Mu Yuyin advised earnestly after assisting Qin Lang with a few dishes. Her tone imbued with concern. Lin Yuchu rolled her eyes in exasperation. Find a partner? Those despicable men are hardly worth my time. I possess wealth and a fine figure. If I wish to find someone, I could have my pick. Her parents incessantly urged her to attend blind dates, leaving her bewildered by their thoughts. The suitors they suggested were hardly comparable to Qin Lang. The mere mention of finding a partner ignited a torrent of frustration within Lin Yuchu, who vented her grievances incessantly. As she spoke, she glanced at Qin Lang, and a mischievous smile suddenly illuminated her face. A brilliant idea struck her. They were both from affluent families. Qin Lang was undoubtedly a top-tier scion in Yinjing. If she were to introduce him as her boyfriend, who would dare to pursue her for a blind date? Don't even think about it, she declared defiantly. Qin Lang shot her a glance of immediate refusal, knowing well the scheme she had concocted. This woman was no saint. It was the same old trick, using the favored son of fortune as a shield to facilitate further entanglements. Now that the favored son Yi Feng had been thoroughly dealt with, Lin Yuchu had set her sights on him. But Qin Lang had no intention of complicating a simple matter. Was it necessary to embroil himself in such convoluted schemes with someone as capricious as Lin Yuchu? Before she could voice her thoughts, the door of the private room swung open and a flustered waiter rushed in. Miss, it's bad. Someone has collapsed at the hotel entrance. They claim to have food poisoning from our restaurant. The lobby manager has already gone to address the situation, but that family insists on speaking with our leadership. Lin Yuchu sighed in annoyance. Her mood was already sour, and now this? Why would they seek out the management instead of calling for an ambulance at the first sign of trouble? It was clear they intended to extort money. Let us go see. It's likely nothing serious, and we can accompany you, Mu Yuyin offered kindly. Lin Yuchu nodded, and they all boarded the elevator to the lobby. By the time they arrived, a crowd had gathered. There were staff from Kaiyuan Hotel, including the lobby manager, as well as onlookers curious about the commotion. Who's responsible for this hotel? Look, my husband ate your food and is now unconscious. You must take full responsibility, a fiery woman shouted vehemently. The lobby manager approached Lin Yuchu and whispered, Miss, it appears this guest is feigning illness. This woman knows exactly what she is doing, creating a scene to extort money. We should ignore her and wait for the ambulance to arrive. The voice of the fiery woman rose an octave higher, demanding to know what whispered conspiracies were being discussed among the crowd. Come and see. Look at this, she exclaimed, her indignation palpable. This hotel, with its grand scale, fails to take any responsibility when incidents arise. Is this the conduct expected from the affluent? Will we ever dine here again? Her outburst stirred the crowd, igniting their collective ire. This was a classic case of inciting the masses. Even though Mu Yuyin had no connection to Kaiyuan Hotel, she felt a surge of indignation at the scene. The brazen woman clearly sought to exploit the situation. I'm a doctor. Allow me to examine him. At that moment, a young man clad in casual attire and worn canvas shoes stepped forward with an air of confidence. Qin Lang glanced over, bemused, a bystander in distress. A chance to treat him, and perhaps forge a connection? Incredible. Was this the treatment reserved for the favored child of destiny? Was that Qin Ping'an? Had he descended from the mountains? The first person he approached was unexpectedly Lin Yuchu. Qin Lang cleared his throat and, with composed demeanor, declared, I am the heir of the renowned Yinjing physician. I have encountered such ailments many times. Let me take a look. There is no need for such raucous behavior. Akin to that of shrew, the fiery woman pointed in Qin Ping'an's direction, retorting, Who do you think you are? Just because you claim to treat ailments. Does that mean you can? Are you here to stir trouble on behalf of this hotel? Qin Ping'an was momentarily taken aback. What had he said? The young man beside him was the one truly speaking with fervor. Why was the fiery woman not berating Qin Lang, but instead fixating on him? Listen here. You better not cause any trouble. If anything happens to my husband, you will be the first to face the consequences. She continued her tirade against Qin Ping'an. She was no fool. She knew how to direct her ire. While not among the wealthy elite, she possessed enough discernment to recognize that one was merely a man of the streets, while the other exuded elegance and charm. It was clear who she would target. Control her. I will take action, Qin Lang instructed the hotel security. Lin Yuchu attempted to intervene, but a glance from the obedient Mu Yuyan prompted her to assist in directing the security personnel. The guards restrained the fiery woman, allowing Qin Lang to advance unimpeded to examine the man who lay unconscious and convulsing. His brow furrowed and relaxed in quick succession, and in the periphery, he discreetly employed silver needles on the unconscious man, withdrawing them without anyone noticing. Rising, Qin Lang adjusted his slightly wrinkled suit. Lin Yuchu approached, curiosity evident in her voice. Do you truly understand medicine? What affliction does this man have? Qin Lang waved his hand dismissively, replying, It is nothing serious, hardly worth mentioning. Then why not cure him? That woman is causing a ruckus and tarnishing our hotel's reputation, Lin Yuchu murmured softly. Qin Lang rolled his eyes, questioning the relevance of the situation to him with a tone of professional disdain. He addressed the assertive woman with a commanding voice, instructing her not to make a fuss over a trivial matter and to contact the funeral home to arrange for a vehicle to take the deceased for cremation. This blunt statement left the woman momentarily speechless, evoking memories of a past experience. A few months prior, she had been sent on a business trip and, after landing, checked into a modest hotel. At that time, she received a call inquiring if she desired a handsome companion. She declined, only to be informed that the gentleman could last for an hour for a mere 200 yuan. Enraged, she dismissed the absurdity of a man lasting that long. However, when the man eventually arrived, he departed within 10 minutes, leaving her with nothing but 200 yuan to show for it. Frustrated, she thought Qin Lang seemed even less reliable than the agency's introduction, and he was certainly more of a deceiver. Did she not know the capabilities of her own husband? He could barely last 5 minutes. No, it was simply an ordinary seizure. Today, he had merely forgotten his medication, and in due time, he would recover on his own. How could Qin Lang make such outlandish claims, suggesting that he could not be cured and should be taken for cremation? Absurd. Chen Pingyan stepped forward with a derisive snort. The assertive woman feared Qin Lang, while he remained utterly unfazed. With a stern expression, he asserted that one should not make unwarranted assumptions about a medical condition without understanding it. The individual in question was merely experiencing a common seizure, and with a bit of acupuncture, he could be stabilized and awakened. His words resonated with many bystanders, who began to nod in agreement. Young man, it appears this patient is experiencing a severe episode. Please do what you can to stabilize him before the ambulance arrives, one passerby suggested. Indeed, let us not delay his treatment. This young man speaks with reason. He does not seem to be speaking recklessly. Allow him to assist. The crowd chimed in. The assertive woman glanced over, noticing her husband as rolled eyes, and fearing for his well-being, she reluctantly nodded in agreement. Chen Pingyan approached the patient, casting a dispassionate glance at Qin Lang. Please step aside and grant the patient ample space to breathe in fresh air. What do you mean? Even if our treatment is flawed, we are acting out of good intentions. Why are you being so aggressive? Mu Yuyan interjected, pulling Qin Lang behind her. Her delicate brows furrowed as she retorted. I have no desire to engage in this argument. Chen Pingyan thought to himself, feeling irked by the woman's attitude, believing that women in big cities were all materialistic and lacked discernment. He, a true heir of a divine physician and a practitioner of formidable martial arts, was far superior to someone like Qin Lang. How blind they must be. His inner pride quickly calmed him down. Although Mu Yuyan was beautiful, there were countless stunning women in the world, and he was confident that one would eventually fall for him, rendering jealousy unnecessary. He crouched down and retrieved silver needles from the pouch he carried, deftly inserting them into the patient's crown. In a short while, the man's forehead was adorned with a multitude of silver needles. Remarkable. This young man, though seemingly inexperienced, executed the insertion of needles with a fluidity akin to flowing water. Such skill could only be attained after decades of diligent practice. Indeed, I have previously witnessed the esteemed elder physician from Tianhai, whose speed paled in comparison to this youth's. It seems this lad speaks no exaggeration. He possesses genuine talent. One cannot help but acknowledge that Chen Pingyan, the son of destiny, effortlessly finds himself in situations where he can heal the afflicted, attracting the admiration of knowledgeable onlookers. This only served to bolster the faith of the spectators present. Before long, Chen Pingyan withdrew the needles, and the convulsions of the man on the ground diminished. His pallid complexion gradually regained a healthy hue, and his trembling lips began to settle. The man stirred and, after a moment's hesitation, inquired, What has happened to me? Observing this, Chen Pingyan remained silent and turned to depart. The divine physician descend from the mountain to offer healing. It is only natural. He had intentions to visit Chu Mengyao, who held a place in his heart akin to that of a fiancé, leaving no time to linger in this place. A spirited woman assisted the man to his feet, her voice trembling with anxiety. "You ungrateful wretch, you frightened me to death. You collapsed and convulsed, and I thought you were lost to us." Thankfully, a young divine physician intervened, but he said nothing and left. Truly a good person. I misjudged him. Just as she spoke, the man, still recovering, suddenly turned pale, his throat constricting, before he violently expelled a torrent of crimson blood that splattered across the spirited woman's face. His vitality waned instantly, and under the woman's bewildered support, he toppled backward. "Good heavens! You scared me to death," someone exclaimed, causing a shiver to ripple through the onlookers. It took a moment for the spirited woman to regain her composure. Pointing at Chun Pingyan, who had yet to exit through the revolving door, she shouted, "Don't let that fellow escape. He's a fraud." The security personnel at Kaiyuan Hotel sprang into action, surrounding him, though it was primarily Chun Pingyan who, bewildered, chose to return. He gazed at the man lying on the ground, his breath faltering, and was taken aback by the unforeseen turn of events. Kinlang Aphoa Chet, wearing an expression of regret, and patted Chun Pingyan's shoulder as if he were an experienced peer. "Young man, I warned you. Just let it go and move on. But you insisted on showing off. The field of healing is fraught with peril, and you cannot grasp its depths." Suddenly, two distinct and urgent sirens echoed in the distance. Growing nearer, one was an ambulance from the hospital, and the other a police vehicle. The lobby manager of the Kaiyuan Hotel had taken the initiative to call for help upon witnessing the woman's frantic behavior. The medical staff, accompanied by the assertive police led by Chun Ziki, burst into the scene with great fervor. One of the doctors, after inspecting the man's eyelids, retorted with irritation, "Who has been recklessly puncturing the patient's skin with so many needles? Do they think they're practicing acupuncture? This is sheer chaos. The patient's condition has worsened, and he is now in a life-threatening situation." The fierce woman pointed an accusatory finger at Chen Pingyan and Qin Lang, exclaiming, "It's all that brat's doing. My husband has been stabbed with who knows how many silver needles by that kid, resembling a porcupine. It nearly scared me to death." With a stern expression, Chen Siki approached Qin Long. "Grim. Is this matter connected to you in any way?" Meanwhile, Chun Pingyan, standing nearby, was overlooked, instinctively believing that Qin Lang was the one at fault. Qin Lang shrugged, dismissing Chun Ziki's provocation, and instead pointed a finger at Chen Pingyan. "Officer, I report this. I report that this fellow is practicing medicine without a license." Chapter 101. Qin Lang's scheme. The good days of Chun Ziki come to an end. Ding! The fortune of the destined one, Chun Pingyan, decreased by 500. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 10,000 villain points. Ding! The destined one, Chun Pingyan, was left bewildered by the host. Congratulations to the host for obtaining an additional 2,000 villain points. Chun Pingyan, intended to explain, but as the words lingered on my lips, they were countered by Qin Lang. "What do you mean? Do you possess a medical license?" Taking a deep breath, Chun Pingyan replied, "Fine, you say I lack a medical license, but you intervened earlier as well. Do you have one?" Just by looking at Qin Lang, who casually suggested burning the man, it was evident he lacked knowledge in the field. He was clearly just a troublemaker. What could such a person do, apart from barking like a wild dog? "Do you?" Chun Ziki directed her gaze toward Qin Lang. She understood that Chun Pingyan needed to be taken in for investigation, but if possible, she also wanted to take Qin Lang along for questioning. "You seem to have some serious issues." Before Qin Lang could respond, Mu Yuyin stepped forward, rolling her eyes. "This person has already admitted to practicing medicine without a license. Why are you not arresting him and instead accusing my boyfriend?" Mu Yin's nature was fiercely protective. Upon witnessing Qin Lang facing unjust treatment, she immediately confronted Chun Ziki. Chun Ziki snorted coldly. "If you continue speaking like this, I can charge you with insulting a public servant." However, mindful of the onlookers, she instructed her subordinates to restrain Chun Pingyan. With a stern face, she continued, "He is practicing medicine without a license. We will certainly investigate. But what about Qin Lang? He also has suspicions of practicing without a license. What is wrong with my boyfriend? He has not intervened. He merely felt the man's pulse for a moment. He could not discern any issues. Yet he suggested taking him for a burn treatment. Everyone present heard it. What does this have to do with my boyfriend?" Mu Yin pointed at Chen Pingyan, her voice rising several decibels. "Clearly, this guy disregarded my boyfriend's advice and insisted on intervening, resulting in this disastrous outcome, all of which he has caused. Do not come here with your nonsensical accusations. I can sue you for defamation." Nevertheless, Chun Ziki was not persuaded. Qin Lang also has suspicions of practicing without a license. Come back with us. It is evident that she harbors animosity towards Qin Lang. Previously, in the interrogation room, she was reprimanded by Zhou Ziqing. And now that an opportunity has presented itself, she naturally seeks to retaliate. I dare you. Mu Yuyin, resembling a protective hen, spread her arms wide to shield Qin Lang behind her, her beautiful eyes wide with fury, while the two one-eyed rabbits in front of her quivered in anger. Yuyin. Qin Lang spoke slowly. Upon hearing his voice, the fierce aura of a CEO evaporated from Mu Yuyin, and upon meeting Qin Lang's gaze, she obediently retreated to his side, resembling a docile kitten. What did I ever say? I didn't possess a medical license. Qin Lang retrieved his phone from his pocket and accessed an official website. Carrying around a little notebook is quite cumbersome, isn't it? We live in a technologically advanced era, complete with electronic credentials. Presenting the electronic certificate, which clearly displayed the identification number and all relevant information, to Chun Ziki, Qin Lang smiled and asked, "Shall we verify it? Do I still need to accompany you?" Chun Ziki squinted her eyes at him, then averted her gaze to stare at Qin Lang, taking a deep breath before reluctantly instructing her subordinates, "Retreat." Mu Yian looked up at Qin Lang's handsome profile, her expression filled with doubt. "Do you truly understand medicine?" "Not all." "Then where did this medical license come from?" "I bought it." Chun Pingan and Chun Ziki, who had not yet moved far away, stumbled upon hearing Qin Lang's response, nearly collapsing in shock. "Bought it? You paid for it?" The crux was that, even if Chun Ziki wished to turn back and apprehend Qin Lang, she had no grounds to do so. A mere statement could not negate a legitimate certificate documented on the official website. Ding! The daughter of fortune, Chun Ziki, experienced an intense emotional upheaval. "Congratulations, host. You have gained 800 villain points." Ding! The son of fortune, Chun Pingan, exhibited heightened hostility. "Congratulations, host. You have gained 2,000 villain points." Listening to the system's notifications, Qin Lang felt a surge of emotion. Truly, the son of fortune is a veritable factory for villain points. While others might receive points in the hundreds, here it seemed that he received them in thousands. "Should I? Never mind. Qin Lang is a straightforward man. Does that police flower have a grudge against you? Why does it feel as if she is always targeting you?" Lin Yuchu, observing the ambulance taking away the injured man and the fierce woman boarding the police car to confront Chun Pingan, felt reassured that she had managed to escape today's ordeal. Her mood significantly improved. Approaching Qin Lang, she curiously inquired. Mu Yiyan also expressed her agreement. Qin Lang shrugged. "Perhaps it's love at first sight. Seeing me standing with two stunning beauties must have made her uncomfortable, prompting her desire to whisk me away to a secluded place. When heaven intends to destroy a man, it first drives him mad. If Chun Ziki sought to trouble him, had she not gone a bit overboard? Let her seek him out. After all, her days of carefree living would soon come to an end." That evening, having resolved this matter, Qin Lang accompanied his two female friends to enjoy a film. As evening descended, I took the time to indulge in a bath. A mixed bathing experience, of course. With only Qin Lang, Mu Yuyin, and Lin Yuchu present. The hot spring was enveloped in a misty haze, with Mu Yuyin and Lin Yuchu seated together, radiating an extraordinary charm. Qin Lang patted the smooth pebbles beneath him and called out to Mu Yuyin, suggesting, after a tiring day, "Come over and let this qualified healer assist you with a massage." Upon hearing this, Mu Yuyin, who was animatedly chatting with Lin Yuchu, immediately transformed into a graceful mermaid, splashing through the water as she swam toward Qin Lang, eventually resting beside him on the pebbles. Due to her physique, Mu Yuyin found it challenging to fully connect with the stones during the massage, as there was a space of air beneath her lower abdomen. Lin Yuchu observed the intimate interaction between the two with a sense of grievance. Being fed dog food during meals was one thing, but now, even during a bath, she felt subjected to the indignity of being served powdered goat milk. Enough was enough. Unable to bear the slight any longer, she declared, "You two enjoy yourselves. I need to step outside for some fresh air." With that, Lin Yuchu stormed out of the hot spring. Mu Yiyan opened her mouth, intending to offer some words of comfort, but the words died on her lips. Suddenly, a notification chimed. "Congratulations, host. You have obtained 1,000 points of the destined villain value." Chapter 102. Shattering Chun Ziki's pride. Panic set in by the time I returned to my villa. It was nearly 10 o'clock at night. Su Xiaoxiao had not yet returned. She had informed Qin Lang earlier that she would be staying at the orphanage to assist the overwhelmed director, as the children had been particularly exuberant lately. However, as Qin Lang ascended the stairs, He wondered if Su Xiaoxiao was avoiding him, perhaps fearing that she would have to resume teaching him. Lost in thought, he opened the door only to have a dagger swiftly aimed at his neck. He calmly grasped the slender wrist, applying just enough pressure to cause the assailant, the enigmatic blood mandala, to drop the dagger with a clatter. Setting aside thoughts of Su Xiaoxiao for the moment, Qin Lang turned his attention to the figure swathed in night attire. Sighing, he remarked, "Mandala, we've known each other for quite some time. Why is it that you still cannot temper your temperament? Is it simply because I did not treat you last night that you resorted to such drastic measures?" Blood Mandala, brimming with indignation, retorted, "What do you call me? You're the one who is a Mandala. Your entire family is." Now, I have time tonight," Qin Lang said, a warm smile gracing his face. The beautiful eyes behind Blood Mandala's mask widened in surprise. "Hurry up, we have important matters to attend to." Qin Lang skillfully bound Blood Mandala and took out his phone, dialing an unfamiliar number. "Hello, may I ask who this is?" The voice on the other end was exceedingly gentle. "Qin Lang Chakot, Iam Qin Lang. After 2 encounters, I find myself quite taken with you. I would like to invite you to enjoy the moonlight and share some thoughts tonight. Might I have the honor of your company?" On the other end of the line, a delicate voice reprimanded, "Qin Lang, how dare you dream? Do not think that threatening me will instill fear. I have nothing to hide. I fear not the specters that might knock at my door in the dead of night. The case at Mangding Mountain undoubtedly harbors issues, and I shall not let this matter simply fade into obscurity." Qin Lang sighed inwardly, acknowledging the captain's unwavering commitment to justice. Indeed, the case at Mangding Mountain was fraught with complications. The mystery surrounding Yi Feng's demise remained unsolved, and the members of the Black Dragon Society were systematically absolved of guilt, leaving only the unfortunate souls from the assassin's list to bear the brunt, serving as mere pawns for Junzi's promotion and gain. Yet, what relevance did this hold for Qin Lang? After fiddling with his phone for a moment, he urged, "The location has been sent. Arrive within the hour, or I shall not be accountable for the consequences." A futile attempt. The woman on the other end scoffed coldly. However, Qin Lang chose not to respond. Instead, he moved closer to the trembling blood-red mandala, offering a smile. "Why not say a few words to your cousin?" The blood-red mandala shook with rage, her teeth clenched. At that moment, she realized that her misguided quest for vengeance had been exploited by Qin Lang. Now, she was merely a bargaining chip to threaten her sister. She had discerned that the voice on the other end belonged to her sister, Chunziki, and she would not utter a word. Despite their recent reunion, they were each other's sole kin in this vast world, even if it meant her own demise. She could never allow her sister to fall into the clutches of this demon. Such stubbornness. Qin Lang sighed, shaking his head, and gave the blood-red mandala a sharp pinch at her waist. A piercing scream escaped her lips, and the blood-red mandala finally spoke. "Qin Lang, what do you intend to do? Do not harm her, please. We can negotiate slowly. As long as you do not hurt her, everything is open to discussion." Qin Lang cast a frigid glance at the countdown. 57 minutes and 26 seconds, 57 minutes and 25 seconds. "I'm on my way, this very moment." The tone of Chunziki had shifted entirely from the assertive stance she had taken earlier that afternoon, her voice now tremulous, accompanied by the sound of something crashing to the ground. "Do not come, please. He is a demon. Sister, do not approach." Realizing her ruse had been uncovered, the blood-red mandala shouted desperately. Yet, Qin Lang offered no further opportunity for sisterly affection, severing the connection. With a warm smile, he gazed at the frightened blood-red mandala. "You two, though not by blood, seem to share a bond deeper than that of true sisters. If my information is correct, it appears you both were unaware of each other's existence over the past decade, only recently recognizing one another. In this brief month, you have risked everything for each other? I am well aware of the intricacies of your relationship with Chunziki. Initially, he had no intention of employing such measures to coerce Chunziki, yet she had unwittingly sealed her own fate. Unable to find a way out, Qin Lang could only begrudgingly tolerate Chunziki, allowing himself to vent his pent-up indignation. Chapter 103. Chunziki's utter defeat, pleading for mercy. "Qin Lang, you are a demon. If you dare to harm my sister, I will not let you go." The blood-colored mandala exclaimed through gritted teeth. It must be said that the already striking assassin, in such a fervent state, showcased her exquisite figure to perfection. "You are gravely ill. You must continue your treatment." Qin Lang remarked earnestly Epsilon, patting her shoulder twice and shaking his head in disbelief. "A demon, you say?" He rather relished this title. After all, it was quite an accomplishment to receive such praise from a cold-blooded assassin. Time passed, ticking away second by second. With less than 15 minutes remaining on the countdown, a knock echoed from outside the door. They have arrived. Qin Lang smiled, having calculated the time meticulously. The drive from his station to his residence typically took an hour at normal speed. Yet, accounting for the time Chunziki had squandered, they had arrived a good 10 minutes early. One could only imagine how swiftly Chunziki, known for her strict adherence to the law, had driven. Qin Lang tucked the blood-colored mandala at his waist, casually tossing it onto the floor of the living room before leisurely opening the door. Chunziki burst in, disheveled and anxious, her face a mask of panic upon seeing the absurdly bound blood-colored mandala on the ground. Without hesitation, she drew her Nepalese knife and lunged at Qin Lang. TSK. Qin Lang clicked his tongue, noting that despite their lack of blood relation, Chunziki shared the same stubbornness as the blood-colored mandala, quick to resort to violence. He swiftly kicked out, sending the Nepalese knife tumbling through the air. Chunziki, clutching the spot where she had been struck, collapsed to the ground in agony, cold sweat beading on her forehead. How can you be so shameless? Qin Lang approached her step by step. As Chunziki attempted to snatch the knife back, he decisively stepped down on her hand. Pain coursed through her, eliciting a heart-wrenching scream. You bastard, let go of my sister. Release her. The blood-colored mandala cried out in distress. Yet, Qin Lang remained unfazed. Pressing his foot against Chunziki's palm, he crouched down, gripping her delicate chin with his hand, a mocking smile on his face. Do you not grasp the situation? Have you allowed your fury to cloud your judgment? The third-ranked assassin has been tied up by me. What makes you think you can kill me? Chunziki pressed her lips together, silent, yet her fiery gaze spoke volumes, her eyes blazing with fury. Qin Lang, undeterred, continued to muse aloud. Did you come alone today out of disdain for me? Or are you concerned that your sister's vulnerable identity will be exposed? Chunziki and the blood-colored mandala represented two starkly different paths, one with a bright future ahead, the other engaged in the shadowy dealings of assassination for bounty. Who could truly fathom the intricate relationship between them? Certainly, Qin Lang, who is privy to the unfolding drama, must be excluded from the equation. His warm smile belies the piercing words that chill Chunziki's heart. Haven't you always wanted to bring me to justice? Very well. I believe now is quite the opportune moment. Perhaps I should surrender, after all. Being taken away alongside such a beautiful assassin might just allow us to become a pair of star-crossed lovers. No, please no, Chunziki exclaimed, desperate to rise but held down by a firm grip on her palm and her chin, forced to shake her head in anguish. You cannot do this. Why not? Qin Lang asked, a peculiar expression on his face. Haven't you always upheld the law, striving for justice? Why, when it comes to your own kin, do you suddenly become so selfish? I was wrong, I truly was. I'm sorry, I beg you, spare her. You may exact whatever revenge you wish upon me. Chunziki buried her face in her hands, tears welling in her eyes. Her relentless pursuit of Qin Lang stemmed from childhood experiences. To this day, the perpetrator who harmed her family remains at large. How could she not feel enraged? How could she bear to witness those who have committed crimes continue to roam freely? She yearned to uncover the truth, yet all of it hinged on maintaining a distance from Qin Lang. Now, with the blood-colored mandala in his possession, more precious to her than her own life, there was nothing that could inflict even the slightest harm upon her. The sense of justice Chunziki had clung to was shattered under Qin Lang's provocations, scattering like broken glass. Tears streamed down her face, not from the excruciating pain of a heart intertwined with another, but from the shame of her own actions. She had vowed to capture Qin Lang and uphold the law. Yet when it came to the blood-colored mandala, she found herself filled with selfishness. This was a blow to her very soul. In this confrontation, Chunziki had suffered a resounding defeat. Let her go, I will stay. Chunziki inhaled deeply, raising her gaze, tears still clinging to the corners of her eyes, defiantly fixing her stare on Qin Lang. Qin Lang turned to observe the blood-colored mandala, bound and struggling on the ground. No, do not harm my sister. I have taken too many lives. I am guilty. I will stay. The blood-colored mandala, unwilling to concede, crawled towards them. The sisters, each vying for the chance to remain, exchanged fervent pleas. An inexplicable sensation washed over Qin Lang. He couldn't discern its validity. Perhaps Chunziki truly sought to save the blood-colored mandala. Yet the latter's frantic attempts to reach them seemed indicative of a troubling ailment. This addiction to healing, perhaps? Chapter 104. The Secrets of Yesteryears. Qin Lang's Terror. Chunziki's Surrender. Please, do not behave in such a manner, Qin Lang remarked, rolling his eyes at the sisters, who appeared to believe he possessed some precious treasure. Do not say that I have not given you a chance. Should you attend to my needs adequately, who knows, I might just release you in a moment of goodwill." He gazed down at Shinziki with an amused smile gracing his face. Attend to? Though Shinziki was slightly older than Qinlang, she had yet to experience even a single romantic relationship, let alone possess any experience in that regard. How can you be so shameless? Shinziki gritted her teeth, engulfed in humiliation and anger, yet dared not refuse him, resorting only to muttering curses under her breath. Qinlang shook his head in exasperation, pondering what unsavory thoughts occupied her mind, declaring it rather unhealthy. "I merely find you displeasing and wish to temper your arrogance." Coercion? That was not something Qinlang particularly favored. "Very well. As long as you keep your promise, I shall acquiesce." Shinziki seemed to have made a solemn decision as she fixed her gaze on Qinlang. "Had you expressed this earlier, we could have avoided such suffering," he sighed. Releasing his foot from Shinziki's hand and returning the blood-colored mandrake to his waist, retreating to the second floor to reorganize his plans. Shinziki beheld the blood-colored mandrake, seemingly subjected to torment, hanging in despair. Her beautiful eyes widened in terror. "You must not do this. This is a humiliation more dreadful than murder." Before Qinlang could respond, the blood-colored mandrake, gritting her teeth, interjected, "Sister, you need not plead with this demon. I am not afraid of him. This is merely child's play. My resilience has grown accustomed to such levels of torment. I am unafraid." Bang! Qinlang exited the bedroom, closing the door behind him, and once more returned to the living room, slouched on the sofa in a manner reminiscent of Guyu, commanding Shinziki, "Bring me a basin of water to soak my feet." Who was Shinziki? Proud and dignified, she had never before been subjected to such orders. Instinctively, she wanted to retort, but recalling her current predicament and the indistinct sounds emanating from the room beyond the closed door, she could only lower her head and obediently make her way to the bathroom to fetch water. She rolled up her sleeves, carrying a basin of foot-soaking water, placing it before Qinlang, suppressing her discomfort as she gingerly placed his feet into the water. Hiss! The moment Qinlang's feet made contact with the cold water, he recoiled, kicking the basin over in frustration, exclaiming, "How do you conduct yourself? Do you use cold water for foot soaking?" To be fair, Qinlang had no intention of making things difficult. It was simply that Shinziki was rather naive, having brought him nothing but cold water devoid of any warmth. I will fetch another basin." Shinziki was on the verge of an explosive temper, yet found herself utterly powerless against Qinlang. Her anger gradually transformed into self-reproach. What misfortune had befallen her to provoke this demon? And her sister, why was she entangled with this man? Everything seemed to weave a dense net around her, trapping her despite her wings. She was utterly unable to escape this snare. Soon, a basin of warm water was brought forth. Shinziki personally tested the temperature, ensuring it would not incite further ire. She obediently picked up the mop and cleaned the water in front of the sofa before squatting down to press Qinlang's foot into the water, beginning to wash it. Qinlang yawned and pulled a cigarette from his pocket, lighting it and taking a deep drag. He casually asked Shinziki, "When did you reunite with the spinning top? After so many years apart, how could you recognize each other? When you parted ways, you didn't even have Wangzai, did you? Now, you both have achieved so much. Was it merely a woman's intuition? What else do you know?" Shinziki did not respond, but instead questioned him. She felt an overwhelming fear, as if Qinlang had grasped every aspect of her life. The relationship between her and her sister was, perhaps, known only to the two of them. After all, her sister had gone missing, abducted, and only returned to Tianhai City later. During that time, she had never mentioned having a sister to anyone, and given her sister's haughty demeanor, it was even less likely that she would confide in others. "Don't be so suspicious. I simply wish to know a few things. To access some files, nothing too difficult," Qinlang said playfully. "What you know, I know, and what you do not know, I also know. For instance, in that massacre years ago, there remains one body that has yet to be found. Do you know where it is?" Shinziki's hands shot out from the footbath with a splash, anxiously gripping Qinlang's shoulders. "Tell me, where is the body?" The missing body belonged to her sister's biological mother, her beloved aunt who had raised her. As a child, she lost her closest kin and grew up in her aunt's care, who treated her as her own, showering her with love. Even when she would quarrel with her sister over snacks in her childhood, her aunt always favored her. The whereabouts of her aunt's body had haunted her for years, a colossal enigma she could not escape. Despite her efforts to retrieve the files and reconstruct the scene of that tragic day countless times, she could find no clues. The excitement in her heart made it impossible for Chunziki to remain composed. She stared intently at Qin Lang, her beautiful eyes slightly reddening. So many years had passed. The dead cannot be resurrected. Even if she found it, what would it matter? Qin Lang shrugged, and Chunziki understood, immediately retracting her hands. It's different. As long as I find the body, I will have the chance to uncover the true murderer and discover who that vile person is. Chunziki clenched her fists tightly. If you can provide me with a clue, I am willing to pay any price. At that moment, she no longer harbored any intention of opposing Qin Lang. That was her aunt, her dear aunt. All she could think about was recovering her aunt's body for a proper burial and bringing the despicable fiend who had destroyed her family to justice. For that, she would not hesitate to sacrifice her own life. Qin Lang sighed and extended a leg. You only know how to help me wash, but not to help clean up? She felt a strong aversion, yet the compulsion within her forced her to comply. She could only obediently squat down, quietly using a soft towel to gently wipe the surface of his feet. After drying his feet, she set the towel aside, biting her lip to suppress her anger, striving to keep her voice as calm as possible. Are you satisfied now? Can you tell me the news? Qin Lang lay on the sofa, gesturing towards the foot basin. It was only after Chunziki took away the foot water and pressed on his instep that Qin Lang slowly began to speak. Over a decade ago, in the impoverished village where your aunt lived in the countryside, there was a village that lacked even a well for drinking water. After the incident at your aunt's house, a kind-hearted person donated several wells, but they have since fallen into disrepair. Beneath one of those wells lies the body you're searching for. Chunziki gasped in horror. How could that be? Why would it be there? Qin Lang shrugged. How should I know? Perhaps it is because someone committed a wrongdoing, wanting to do good deeds out of fear of retribution. Or perhaps they feared vengeful spirits seeking their due. Those who do not engage in wrongful deeds have no reason to fear ghosts knocking at their door at midnight. Clearly, the one who has done wrong is terrified. After alleviating Chunziki's confusion, Qin Lang slipped on his slippers and ascended the stairs. Before Chunziki's eyes, he brought down the blood-red mandrake hanging above. There is nothing more to discuss. Don't wander around here anymore. I don't have the time to entertain you. The two sisters exchanged glances, and the blood-red mandrake lowered its head in shame. Chunziki did the same, subconsciously swallowing hard, feeling somewhat guilty. This visit had not only failed to confront the great evil, but had instead led her to wash his feet, serving him attentively. Truly a disgraceful situation. At the entrance of the villa, the blood-red mandrake did not express its grievances to Chunziki, but transformed into a shadow, disappearing into the night. Chunziki, in a daze, entered the private car that had started up and slowly departed. Just as Qin Lang lay back, stretching lazily and preparing to sleep, he heard a notification sound. Picking up his phone, he saw it was a message from Zhou Ziqing. Qin Lang, I'm not sure if you have time tomorrow to help Shi'er with a massage. Shi'er and her mother don't have your contact information, and after a day without news from you, they're worried they won't be able to reach you in the future. Qin Lang tapped the screen, responding. The last time I went to that food street was my first visit. I don't know the way either. Zhou Ziqing, I'll send you the location. Or I can accompany you tomorrow. Of course, if you're busy, that is perfectly fine. I'm already incredibly grateful for your help last time. Shi'er is a good child, intelligent and kind, but that leg of hers is like a thorn in her heart. She thought you could heal her, and last night, she was particularly excited while chatting with me. But after such a short time without news from you, she has become despondent again. Zhou Ziqing was certainly not a loquacious person, whether in the original narrative or in their brief acquaintance. In her earnest plea for Lin Xier, Zhou Ziqing spoke at length, clearly wishing for Qin Lang to take action and not abandon the endeavor halfway. Her request was sincere. Yet, Qin Lang was not genuinely occupied. He merely feigned busyness to prompt Zhou Ziqing to articulate her hopes and desires, perhaps even to beseech him directly. Once his objective was achieved, Qin Lang no longer held back, responding, Since you have stated your wishes, Teacher Zhou, I cannot refuse. I will rearrange my schedule tomorrow and make another visit. Initially, daily acupuncture greatly enhances the chances of recovery. Thank you, Zhou Ziqing exclaimed with excitement. I will treat you to noodles tomorrow. Chapter 106. Assisting Lin Xier with acupuncture. Zhou Ziqing's cold illness erupts the following day. In the afternoon, at Lin Xier's home, Zhou Ziqing personally prepared a bowl of knife-cut noodles for Qin Lang. She always honored her promises. If she vowed to treat Qin Lang to a meal, she would certainly fulfill that commitment, regardless of the time or place. She might arrive late, but she would never forget her intentions. After enjoying a hearty meal, it was time to attend to the essential matters. Nearly an hour was devoted to providing Lin Sierra with a thorough session of acupuncture and massage. Following the treatment, Lin Sierra was drenched in sweat, her floral dress clinging to her skin, accentuating her graceful figure. She lay on the bed, turning her head to express her gratitude. "Brother Chin, you are truly remarkable. I was so apprehensive about you using such thick needles, but as you said, it was just a bit painful at first, a little uncomfortable, and then it became quite soothing. Moreover, after merely 2 sessions of treatment, although she could not yet rise and walk, Lin Sierra felt as though she could sense her legs. She pinched her thigh firmly and even experienced a faint pain. Indeed, the slight discomfort she felt during the acupuncture was not an illusion. Her legs had regained a modicum of sensation. Without any need for Qin Lang's silver needles to stimulate the acupoints, she was beginning to perceive her limbs. This was only after 2 treatments. If she continued for an extended period and received more sessions, could it be possible for her to regain normalcy and walk again? For years, Lin Sierra had dreamt countless times of being able to walk again. However, repeated disappointments had extinguished her hopes for miracles, leaving her in a state of profound despair. The arrival of Qin Lang was akin to the sudden opening of a door for Lin Sierra, who had been trapped in a dark room, plunging into endless despair. A warm ray of sunlight streamed through, illuminating her face and allowing her to glimpse hope once more. "Brother Qin, I truly apologize for the trouble I've caused you twice now by having you come to my home," Lin Sierra said. Although she was eager for her legs to be healed, she understood the predicament Qin Lang faced. Her condition made it challenging for her parents to manage their time, even when they occasionally took her to school, let alone bringing her back and forth for treatment. Once or twice was manageable, but repeated visits would disrupt their family noodle shop's operations. One cannot entirely forsake life for her sake. Moreover, the medical expenses remain a pressing concern. Yet Qin Lang has yet to utter a word about it. Lin Sierra genuinely feels gratitude, but the guilt is insurmountable. Qin Lang, with a smile, reached out to pat Lin Sierra's head and said, "You called me Brother Qin, so what is there to complain about in helping my sister with her illness? I shall return tomorrow." However, Lin Sierra's expression turned sour. "School resumes tomorrow after the weekend." Zhou Ziqing, clad in a white t-shirt and a form-fitting black knee-length skirt, adorned with glossy black high heels, adjusted her glasses and couldn't help but chuckle beside them. "Sierra, I have delightful news for you." "What news?" Lin Sierra inquired. Her curiosity piqued. Zhou Ziqing, not one to keep secrets, smiled at Qin Lang and continued, "I hadn't considered this before, but last night I specifically requested a list from your homeroom teacher to check for any transfer students. To my surprise, there are indeed 2 new students in your class, one of whom is Qin Lang." What an incredible coincidence. Qin Lang's eyes widened in astonishment. Although he had intentionally arranged for Junzi to secure a spot in this class, he now had a faint surprise, mimicking the sound effects of a big fish being caught in a game. "Is this for real?" Zhou Ziqing wrinkled her nose and replied, "Do you think I would have any reason to deceive you? Or do you believe I purposely transferred you to my class?" No, I certainly did not mean that," he stammered, casting a deep glance at Lin Sierra, revealing a bittersweet smile. "If this is indeed true, it simply indicates that fate has intertwined our paths, making it more convenient for me to assist her with acupuncture and massage." Lin Sierra, feeling a bit bashful under his gaze, averted her eyes, unable to respond. It seemed as if Brother Qin's smile possessed an enchanting quality. One could not help but remember it, replaying it in their mind time and again. She instinctively turned her gaze towards Zhou Ziqing. Zhou Ziqing, with a hint of playful irritation, remarked in a teasing tone, "Do you truly believe there will be ample time and space for the 2 of you at school?" Yet her words were delivered calmly, accompanied by a gentle smile. "While I could offer my staff dormitory for your use, you might want to ponder the implications a bit more." "Thank you, Teacher Zhou. I shall rely on your kindness in the future," Qin Lang said, bowing slightly in a gesture of respect before her. Zhou Ziqing nodded in satisfaction, a slight smile of contentment on her lips, and quipped, "Now that is more like it." Lin Sierra lay on her bed, glancing from Zhou Ziqing to Qin Lang, feeling an odd sense of discomfort. She knew Zhou Ziqing well enough. Their interactions were merely polite nods. Even when encountering powerful school officials, she hardly engaged with them, let alone the swarm of admirers pursuing her. Yet, why did she exhibit such a girlish demeanor in front of Qin Lang? Between the 2 individuals, are there matters unknown to oneself? She instinctively asked, "Teacher Zhou, Brother Qin, are you 2 in a romantic relationship?" The moment the words escaped her lips, she was startled. Even herself. What was happening? Why had she posed such a question? She had not consciously considered that direction. It was almost an impulsive utterance, devoid of contemplation. You little clever one, speculating recklessly again. Did we not agree that whoever falls in love must inform the other at the first opportunity? Do you think the teacher is a person who does not keep their word? Zhou Zhiqing chided with a smile, playfully tapping Lin Siener's forehead twice with his finger. However, just as he was about to turn away, his brow suddenly furrowed, and an intense chill instantly enveloped his entire being, surging from his heart. She anxiously pressed her hand against her chest, and due to the condition of the one-eyed rabbit, she could only raise her hand, gripping the skin in an awkward position. Trembling in pain. Teacher Zhou, are you all right? Is it that time again? Lin Sierra exclaimed in alarm, her panic evident. Qin Lang, observing from the side, understood that it was Zhou Zhiqing's cold ailment acting up again. In the narrative of the divine healer's descent, one must possess some ailment or have a family elder afflicted to qualify as the protagonist, without some malady plaguing the female lead or her family. How could the child of fate maintain their pretense? Chapter 107. Suppressing the cold within Zhou Zhiqing, preparing for the child of fate's landmines. Teacher Zhou, are you all right? Qin Lang hurriedly approached, his expression filled with concern as he looked at Zhou Zhiqing's tightly furrowed brow. Zhou Zhiqing turned back, waving her hand lightly, shaking her head. I'm fine, it's just an old ailment. I can't endure it. This was a condition she had suffered from since childhood, sporadically flaring up, and when it did, it felt as though she had plunged into an ice pit. Furthermore, with age, this ailment seemed to intensify, becoming increasingly unbearable. Like Lin Sierra, Zhou Zhiqing had consulted numerous hospitals in vain, with no one capable of providing a remedy. Even the most sophisticated medical instruments failed to detect any abnormalities. Qin Lang frowned, unhesitatingly grasping Zhou Zhiqing's delicate wrist, feigning ignorance while checking her pulse. Zhou Zhiqing allowed her wrist to be held without discomfort, appearing instead as if Qin Lang possessed a kind heart. Lin Sierra, supporting herself on the bed in a yoga-like pose, urgently exclaimed, Brother Qin, your medical skills are extraordinary. Can you cure Teacher Zhou? The teacher had suffered from this illness for a long time, and it would strike unpredictably. Sometimes while speaking, she would suddenly succumb to it, curling up coldly, a truly frightening sight. Initially, Lin Sierra had considered asking Qin Lang to treat Teacher Zhou, but the latter had disallowed her from mentioning it during their chat the previous night. Now that Zhou Zhiqing was experiencing an episode in front of Qin Lang, she no longer harbored any intention of concealing the matter. As Qin Lang, with his fingers on the pulse, relaxed his furrowed brow and smiled, he deliberately downplayed the situation. He instructed Zhou Zhiqing, it's nothing serious. Teacher Zhou, just lie down here. I shall help you with acupuncture to dispel the cold. Zhou Zhiqing, trembling from the chill, could only obediently lay beside Lin Sierra. In Qin Lang's eyes, Zhou Zhiqing and Lin Sierra, one mature and graceful, the other playful and vivacious, were two exquisite beauties unabashedly sprawled before him. Their perfect silhouettes were laid bare, unadorned. The two women were of similar height and posture. However, due to her age, Zhou Zhiqing's skin, though still fair and smooth, had curves that were more rounded and possessed a distinct feminine allure compared to Lin Sierra. Nonetheless, Lin Sierra, despite her youth, was no stranger to possessing ample curves, and Qin Lang, while massaging, could distinctly feel the tautness of her skin. It was as if one were a peach and the other a freshly picked red Fuji apple. The visual impact of such a scene was undoubtedly akin to the striking sight of Bai Ruyu and Bai Xiaoyun lying together. Taking a deep breath, Qin Lang expelled the stagnant air, striving to calm himself. He deftly drew the silver needles and began to work with a fluid grace on Zhou Zhiqing's neck. He could have suggested that Zhou Zhiqing remove her obstructive white t-shirt, not to mention the indulgence it would provide for his eyes. However, after a moment's contemplation, he dismissed such thoughts. There was still significant narrative yet to unfold concerning Zhou Zhiqing, and the more he maintained his virtuous demeanor and remained indifferent, the more it would highlight the despicable character of the fated one, Chun Ping'an. To exploit the fortune of this fated individual and to successfully allay Zhou Zhiqing's suspicions, allowing her to open her heart to him, he had to temporarily extinguish any notions of taking advantage. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and an hour and a half later, beads of sweat dotted Qin Lang's forehead, and his complexion turned somewhat pallid. This was no pretense. The effort to restrain the cold energy within Zhou Zhiqing had indeed exacted a considerable toll. Zhou Zhiqing was not afflicted by any illness per se, but rather her constitution was that of a cold and lean body. In the original narrative, even the fated one, Chun Ping'an, could only slightly alleviate her extreme chill in the early stages. Even in the middle stages, he could merely suppress it temporarily, unable to cure it entirely. Or perhaps Zhou Ziqing simply did not wish for him to do so. Fortunately, Qin Lang's medical skills surpassed those of Chun Ping'an, enabling him to temporarily contain the eruption of this cold energy. While Qin Lang appeared pale and drenched in sweat, Zhou Ziqing lay there, almost drifting into slumber. In the past, each episode would leave her shivering uncontrollably, and in severe cases, she might even lose consciousness. However, this time felt as if two forces were contending within her body, one icy and the other warm. As warmth enveloped her, a sense of unparalleled comfort and ease washed over her, causing her to instinctively close her eyes and, before she knew it, slip into a light slumber. "Hello, Teacher Zhou. Are you feeling better?" Lin Sierra, who had been observing from the side, noticed the pained expression on Zhou Ziqing's face had faded, replaced by a serene relaxation. Unable to restrain her curiosity, she inquired softly. Zhou Ziqing gradually awakened, a bittersweet smile gracing her lips as her gaze met Lin Sierra's. "Sierra, it seems we are kindred spirits, both indebted to Qin Lang for an immense favor. I truly do not know how to repay it." Lin Sierra understood well that both she and teacher Zhou owed a considerable debt of gratitude. In unison, the two women directed their attention towards Qin Lang, who stood at the bedside, forcing a faint smile. "Teacher Zhou, what are you saying? It is my honor to help alleviate your and Sienna's ailments. Besides, I have already treated one of you, albeit temporarily suppressing the symptoms and assisting with acupuncture and massage for rehabilitation." With the chill of her condition subdued, Zhou Ziqing, upon seeing Qin Lang's pale complexion, rose from the bed to fetch a towel. Yet, unfamiliar with her surroundings, she could only lift her sleeve to gently wipe the beads of sweat from Qin Lang's brow. "You must be exhausted. I apologize. You performed your task so well that I lost track of your feelings. I am not tired. It is enough that Teacher Zhou is well." Qin Lang replied with a weary smile. As he glanced at Zhou Ziqing, who stood a head shorter and was close to him, he caught a glimpse of her attire. Well, the protective measures are quite effective. All the buttons are securely fastened. Nothing untoward was observed, only a faint, delicate fragrance wafting from Zhou Ziqing, which pleasantly filled the air. Zhou Ziqing, perceptive and astute, noticed the subtle movements but felt no aversion, instead considering Qin Lang a person of normal disposition. Curiously, she remarked, "I have also undergone acupuncture before, and the elderly practitioners often advised wearing fewer layers for ease of access to the points. Yet, neither Sierra nor I have heard you mention this." Qin Lang chuckled lightly, unconsonet. Some elderly practitioners may lack the skill to accurately locate the acupoints through clothing. This is trivial. I have heard my master speak of certain charlatans in the field of traditional medicine. Though they possess some ability, their character is often lacking, exploiting the sick under the guise of treatment. There are even those who claim, "You are of a cold and mean constitution, beyond the aid of medicine. But fortunately, I am of pure yang. Should we unite, you shall be healed." Chapter 108. Zhou Ziqing, elegant as the calamus, while I, a mere escort, possess the bearing of a great emperor. It is difficult to generalize, as there are all sorts of individuals in this world. Zhou Ziqing smiled gently, remarking that we must view the world with a kind heart. Otherwise, what we behold may be a dismal sight, which would surely discomfort us. Qin Lang nodded in réflexion, acknowledging the wisdom imparted by his teacher. Truly, she was a professor at Tianhai University's Department of Literature. Not only was her physique and appearance exceptional, but her mindset and character were also far beyond the comparison of ordinary individuals. "Ayu." Zhou Ziqing chuckled, graceful as a blooming iris. She reached out as if to tap Qin Lang's forehead playfully, but hesitated midair, deeming it somewhat inappropriate, and withdrew her hand with a wry smile. "If I could truly nurture a student as outstanding as you, I would consider myself a competent teacher. Alas, I merely reap the benefits of others' hard work. Fortunate to be addressed as teacher by you." The friendship of gentlemen is as gentle as water. Their conversation flowed politely, reminiscent of longtime friends. The dynamics between women are distinctly different. It is a well-worn adage that one must tailor their approach to each individual. Chun Ziqi's provocative nature required a firm response, without a taste of consequence. She would surely become insufferable. Yet Zhou Ziqing, with her gentle and insightful demeanor, would even guide you towards admitting your mistakes, embodying the essence of an exceptional professor. One must never resort to forceful actions, as they would only yield counterproductive results. potentially leading to mutual destruction. Qin Lang maintained a deliberate distance, avoiding any undue abruptness, opting for a measured approach. His relationship with Zhou Zuqing was straightforward, characterized by a gradual and subtle progression that fostered a positive atmosphere. The development of their relationship was a gradual process, reliant on opportunities, which would manifest through Chun Pingon. As the evening approached, he savored a generous bowl of braised beef noodles devoid of noodles. Under the watchful eyes of a family of 3 in Zhou Zuqing, Qin Lang returned to the villa. Seated in the rear of a Maybach, Junzi drove steadily, giving a thumbs up from the rearview mirror. "Young master, you truly are remarkable. Would you like to learn? I can teach you." Qin Lang mused that perhaps his serendipitous encounters with 2 beautiful women had left Junzi in awe. However, to his surprise, Junzi's comment was not as it seemed. He dreamily replied, "Hearing your words is more enlightening than a decade of study. I've already learned. Young master, your advice on tailoring one's approach is truly profound." Qin Lang frowned. "Have you lost your mind? Did you drug manager Zhang? Was Junzi's darker side emerging since joining him?" No. Junzi shook his head. "I am no longer involved with Manager Zhang. It is not suitable." Qin Lang's suspicion deepened. What was truly happening? Wasn't Junzi quite taken with Manager Zhang? Junzi sighed. "Manager Zhang is not a good person. She has a boyfriend, which she concealed from me. Initially, I had no intention of pursuing the matter, thinking it was merely a misunderstanding, as it was mutually agreeable. However, recently, Manager Zhang has encountered difficulties. She unexpectedly confided in me, expressing her desire to break up with her boyfriend and to pursue a formal relationship with me." Qin Lang responded with a nonchalant hum, remarking that it seemed quite favorable. Junzi, however, offered a rueful smile, declaring, "Is it really so good, young master? Previously, I was the one on the outside. That man was her boyfriend, and I had no losses. But if I were to become her boyfriend, what if Manager Zhang's woman were to take up with another young man? Would I not be driven to despair? It's merely a matter of wearing a green hat versus being the one who wears it. A single word can lead to a vast misunderstanding." Fearing misinterpretation, Junzi hastily clarified, feeling somewhat embarrassed as he scratched the back of his head. "Well, to be honest, young master, during this time, I also have someone special in my life." "Oh." Qin Lang's interest was piqued as he offered a cigarette and lit it for him. Junzi took a calm puff, steering the Maybach smoothly onto the main road. "Recently, I met a young lady online. We occasionally chat when we have the time." Qin Lang took a drag from his cigarette, exhaling a ring of smoke. "With your disposition, I wonder if you're merely exchanging pleasantries?" Junzi rolled down the window, releasing a plume of smoke, and shared a knowing glance with Qin Lang, both amused. "Well, you see, when I have nothing else to do, I send her little gifts, planes, tanks, that sort of thing. In return, she sends me sentimental gifts every day." Qin Lang chuckled with amusement. "Sentimental, you say?" Junzi quickly corrected himself. "I misspoke, young master. I meant sensual gifts." "Good heavens. Junzi, you truly are something else. Engaging with a female streamer? And you chat with her every single day?" "Indeed, I've spent quite some time talking to her. Last time, she came to Tianhai City to meet me, and upon our first meeting, I was struck. She makes Manager Zhang look inadequate." Junzi sighed. "I kept in mind your teachings, young master, and serve her a cup of water laced with a little something." Qin Lang raised an eyebrow. "Did you really drug her? You actually went through with it? That defies logic." Though Junzi sometimes lacked decorum, he was, after all, educated. How could he possibly commit such an act? Was his guidance truly that easily misinterpreted? Junzi asserted seriously, "Actually, I had informed her that the water contained something, and she still chose to drink it. What on earth?" Even Qin Lang found himself somewhat bewildered. In matters of consent, how could one resort to such tactics? How misguided? Junzi chuckled mischievously. "Well, I actually serve her the water on a tray. And besides the drug water, I also included 20,000 yuan in cash." Qin Lang couldn't help but inhale sharply, contributing a minor effort to the global warming crisis. How does one even articulate this? A young cow standing on its head, the mother cow opening the door for her daughter. What a spectacle. He was utterly astonished that Junzi had managed to outwit him. It seems that the last incident involving my old comrade was certainly not a mere coincidence. Junzi has genuinely undergone a profound transformation and awakening. Not only has he honed his skills, but he has also mastered one of the secrets to courting women. This young man is truly formidable. Even Qin Lang, upon hearing this, could not help but exclaim in admiration. "My dear, Junzi possesses the charm of a true gentleman." Chapter 109. Chun Ziki arrives, followed by the Crimson Mandrake under Junzi's steady driving. Qin Lang returned to the villa. Having performed acupuncture twice in a single day, he felt somewhat fatigued and made his way to the second floor, intending to rest. Before he could close his eyes, Junzi hurriedly ascended the stairs to report, "Young master, that female police officer named Chinziki is here again and insists on seeing you. We have already intercepted her. Should we send her away, or?" I must say, Junzi has become exceptionally adept at discerning Qin Lang's thoughts. He could tell that Qin Lang had expended considerable energy at the noodle shop earlier that day. If it were a man seeking an audience, he would have simply dismissed him without a second thought. Yet, it was Chinziki, a strikingly beautiful woman with an impressive figure and the authority of her profession. Even as his trusted confidant, he dared not make a hasty decision. "Let her in." Qin Lang gestured dismissively, not overly surprised. Junzi bowed and withdrew, and soon after, Chinziki, clad in a deep blue uniform, ascended to the second floor and entered Qin Lang's bedroom. Her finely arched brows were tightly knit, and the usually composed and serious beauty bore an evident sorrow upon her exquisite features. "The body has been found," she exclaimed, just as Qin Lang had stated. Her aunt's remains were indeed buried in that desiccated well. Furthermore, the identity had been confirmed. "After all these years, how did you come to know the location of my aunt's body? And how did you ascertain the connection between my sister and me?" Chinziki inquired, her grief momentarily set aside, replaced by suspicion. There was no animosity directed at Qin Lang. After all, how old was he when the tragic incident occurred? Moreover, he was from Yinjing. What connection could he possibly have to a case in Tianhai City? Qin Lang yawned, resting his hands behind his head, and replied nonchalantly, "I am an information broker. As long as you can offer a reasonable price, I can provide you with any information you desire." He adjusted the pillow behind him for added comfort. "What kind of compensation do you seek?" Chinziki asked, biting her lip. She was merely a civil servant, and her salary was modest. She would have to wait for the year-end bonuses to receive a fraction of her annual salary. However, with so many years having passed, many leads had gone cold. Even the origins of the wells could not be traced. It was evident that those behind it had erased all traces. Had she not been a loss, Chinziki would not have placed her hopes in Qin Lang. After all, this fellow could even discern the location of her aunt's corpse. It was hardly unlikely that he was unaware of the secrets lurking behind it. "What do you think?" Qin Lang's face bore a playful expression. Upon reflection, it became evident that someone of Qin Lang's stature would never covet her meager salary. Chinziki felt a twinge of embarrassment under his gaze, but was compelled to suppress her emotions. She had resolutely decided to avenge her aunt's family. What Qin Lang desired, she was reluctant to provide, yet felt she had no choice. Chinziki slowly approached the edge of the bed. Just as she was about to sit down, Qin Lang seized her delicate wrist, furrowing his brow in a peculiar manner. "Did you not drive here yourself?" Confused, Chinziki shook her head. "No. I happened to pass by here. My colleague dropped me off." "Then you cannot afford to pay me for the time being. Your sister has arrived." Qin Lang shrugged, feigning indifference. The chilling sensation returned. Who else could it be but the Scarlet Mandala? Had Chinziki driven over, it was likely that the Scarlet Mandala would have refrained from making an appearance that night. But alas, Chinziki had chosen to walk over, with the Scarlet Mandala eager to treat her ailment. How could it remain oblivious to Chinziki's arrival? "This is impossible." Chinziki's face drained of color, her heart racing with trepidation. Outside, footsteps approached ominously. As the third-ranked assassin, the Scarlet Mandala had shed its concealment and was now familiar with the path leading to Qin Lang's bedroom. "I must hide. You must not reveal that I was here." Chinziki, flustered and at a loss for words, could only seek refuge temporarily. Otherwise, she would be unable to explain herself to her sister. Instinctively, she attempted to slip beneath the bed, but her exquisite figure only allowed part of her to disappear, leaving the rest exposed. Her figure was indeed remarkable. With a curvaceous waist that became stuck, Qin Lang glanced at Chinziki, who was struggling to wriggle her way under the bed, and with a swift motion, he gave her a light pat on the back, urging, "This won't do. Your rear is too ample. Hide over there instead." He gestured toward the wardrobe. In a panic, Chinziki emerged, inadvertently bumping her head against the bed's edge, causing her to clutch her head in pain, tears welling in her eyes. Yet time allowed no room for sorrow. She hurriedly flung open the wardrobe door and concealed herself within. Creak! Just as Chinziki had hidden herself in the wardrobe, the Scarlet Mandala, clad in dark attire, strode in unabashedly. "Ah, Mandala, I must point out, last night your sister caught sight of you. Why have you returned tonight? Saving lives is not a matter of a day or two. One must allow me a moment to devise a strategy for treatment." "No? The crimson mandala harbored an unsettling feeling within, yet she chose not to reveal it, maintaining a cold demeanor. You have wronged my sister. Do not presume that your past actions are unbeknownst to me. As an assassin, she had no idea how many times she had ended the lives of her targets while they lay in slumber. It was precisely through such methods that she had borne witness to the filth of those men. Her awareness and perception of certain peculiar energies had become distinctly acute. When confronted with the exposure of her deeds, Qin Lang displayed no trace of embarrassment. Instead, he cast a meaningful glance toward the wardrobe and earnestly advised, I comprehend your intentions, your fervent desire for vengeance on behalf of your sister. I understand your sentiments. Yet tonight is truly not the appropriate moment for retribution. Perhaps we could defer until another day. When time permits, let us engage in a proper contest. Qin Lang did not intend to absolve Chinziki. Rather, the bond between her and the Crimson Mandala was akin to two fish that had already taken a bite of bait. It was not yet suitable for them to meet in this manner, lest they disturb the nest of fish and provoke unforeseen consequences, the likes of which even he could scarcely predict. Chapter 110. Is the sister's fish pond about to explode? Qin Lang intervenes to mitigate losses. Enough of the chatter. Tonight, it is either you or I who shall perish. The Crimson Mandala let out a cold snort, brandishing a dagger as she lunged toward Qin Lang's neck. How bothersome. Qin Lang rolled his eyes, fully aware that this was the Crimson Mandala succumbing to her impulses. Mere persuasion would prove futile, and he could only temporarily suppress her. With a sweeping kick, he brought her to the ground, pinning her face down. As he pulled the rope, the Crimson Mandala was lifted into the air. Accompanied by the sensation of weightlessness, the murderous intent in her beautiful eyes swiftly dissipated. Avenging my sister, it's a fight to the death? How disingenuous she was. Just moments after being subdued, she regained her composure, uttering not a single curse, merely gritting her teeth as if enduring something. Pain? No, certainly not. Having witnessed much, Qin Lang understood that she felt neither pain nor discomfort. Perhaps she was even reveling in the silence. How to articulate this? Qin Lang's gaze flitted between the wardrobe and the Crimson Mandala. One sister concealed within the wardrobe, the other suspended in midair. They were so close, yet dared not acknowledge one another. This act of separation, Qin Lang felt he was mastering with increasing finesse. As time elapsed, the Crimson Mandala's inner fury began to subside, and the murderous glare in her eyes gradually faded away. Qin Lang, ever considerate, descended from the bed and rummaged through the cupboard, retrieving a cloth to gag her mouth. He softly reassured, do not be so quick to concede. When it is time to be angry, one must retain a sense of spirit. In the midst of his attempts to provoke the Crimson Mandala's senses, a voice resonated from below the villa. Young master, I have returned. Qin Lang, in a moment of excitement, inadvertently shoved the cloth into the Crimson Mandala's throat. Hiss! The Crimson Mandala gasped sharply, startled by the stimulus. Let me down quickly. Allow me to leave. The Crimson Mandrake expelled the cloth, anxiously urging, come on, where are we going? Qin Lang cast a glance at the feeble Crimson Mandrake, feeling an unsettling discontent within. Could it still traverse rooftops and walls? Just as they ventured out, they were met head-on. He had completely forgotten about Su Xiao. It was likely that Junzi had momentarily obstructed her outside. Otherwise, she would have already rushed in by now. Yet, even Junzi would find it challenging to manage Su Xiao. Hearing the footsteps ascending the staircase, Qin Lang sensed something amiss. He gently lowered the Crimson Mandrake from midair, tucking it at his waist, and approached the window. He opened the bulletproof glass window and pushed the Crimson Mandrake halfway out. No, the Crimson Mandrake pleaded in terror. The height was considerable. In her current state, a fall would surely be fatal. She contemplated death, even the prospect of being killed by Qin Lang, but never in such a vulnerable condition. If she were to perish in such a manner, she would die with her eyes wide open. Qin Lang glanced at her and pulled the Crimson Mandrake back, shoving her beneath the bed and kicking her deeper inside. It proved futile. While the sisters were not of direct blood relation, they had inherited some commendable traits from their maternal lineage, notably their graceful figures. She was wedged in. How bothersome. Growing weary of the struggle, Qin Lang opened the wardrobe door and unceremoniously tossed the Crimson Mandrake inside. The last time the sisters parted, they had exchanged wide-eyed stares. This reunion, however, took a different turn. Regardless of what transpired within the wardrobe, he opened the door, and not far away, Su Xiao quickened her pace, rushing towards Qin Lang and enveloping him in an embrace. With a pouting expression, Su Xiao, filled with longing, planted a light kiss on his cheek and a bit sheepishly said, Young master, I'm so sorry. The orphanage has been incredibly busy. There are classes to attend and children to take out for field trips. It's such a waste of time. Moreover, the director has not been well lately, so I have to oversee everything. Or else the children might cause a ruckus and not sleep. Qin Lang looked down at the chattering Su Xiao, feeling no trace of annoyance. Perhaps at times, he overthought matters. Encountering such an innocent girl always provided a sense of spiritual cleansing. Although it wouldn't necessarily make him a better person, at the very least, it brought him a measure of joy. He gently patted Su Xiao's little head and, with a wry smile, remarked, "What if I forbid you from busying yourself at the orphanage any longer? Would you comply?" Su Xiao opened her mouth. Both the orphanage and Qin Lang held immense significance in her heart. One was the place that nurtured her, while the other had become the beloved to whom she entrusted her future. Without the orphanage, she might feel sorrowful and tormented. However, without the young master, she would likely lose all hope. "All right, I was just teasing you. Staying busy is quite good." Qin Lang had no intention of placing Su Xiao in a difficult position. The innocent and naive little girl should be allowed to remain as she is. It is quite delightful. For instance, every time Qin Lang approaches the one-eyed rabbit, two rosy clouds appear on Su Xiao's cheeks, and she instinctively buries her little head in her embrace, shy as a quail. "Young master, I would like to take a bath first," Su Xiao murmurs softly. Qin Lang withdraws his hand and replies with a simple, "Go ahead." As he watches the delicate silhouette of Su Xiao shyly depart, he closes the door behind her. Opening the wardrobe, he finds that Shinziki has already positioned the blood-red mandala correctly, yet the bow remains untied. After all, this skill is rare among those who understand it. Qin Lang adeptly unties the intricate knots, preparing to let the two sisters free. However, once liberated from their constraints, the sisters emerge from the wardrobe, gazing at each other in silence. "How did you end up here? Did I not tell you last night that you were not to have any further dealings with this man?" Shinziki's expression turns icy. From within the wardrobe, she had heard everything clearly. Even without witnessing her sister being shoved inside, she could deduce the situation. As an elder sister, she could not bear to see her only family member subjected to such humiliation. The blood-red mandala, guilty of its own secrets, lowers its head and remains silent. Tension rises. At that moment, Qin Lang promptly retrieves his phone and sends a document to Shinziki. Shinziki opens the loading file, glancing at Qin Lang with curiosity. "What is this?" Qin Lang shrugs. "The clues you requested. It contains some information unknown to you, though only a portion. The rest will require a certain price from you two sisters to obtain. I can't open it." Shinziki taps the screen repeatedly, growing anxious. "Kinlangestulis dismissivity. It's substantial. Be patient." Before long, the document opens. Shinziki meticulously reads through the densely packed text, which details information pertaining to the donations for several water wells. She furrows her brow. According to this intelligence, it is indeed possible to locate the individuals responsible for constructing the wells and some related parties. Yet, the mastermind behind it all has deliberately erased even these details. Even if she manages to find the relevant individuals from that time, it seems impossible to trace back to the true puppet master. Indeed, Qin Lang nods. This is merely a trivial part. Of course, you won't uncover the mastermind this way. You must pay the appropriate price to obtain the relevant information. He casts a meaningful glance at Shinziki's delicate lips, the implication clear. Ding! The protagonist Shinziki's anger level rises. Congratulations to the host for gaining 500 villain points. Shinziki stifles her inner fury, glancing at her sister beside her. "We'll discuss this later." The blood-red mandala, feeling perplexed, inquires, "What are you two talking about?" She senses herself to be utterly in the dark. Shinziki sighs softly and replies, "It's about a recent unsolved case. The murderer has yet to be brought to justice." She had no intention of revealing to her sister the discovery of their aunt's corpse. The repercussions could be dire. After all, that was the biological mother of the Scarlet Mandala. It was not beyond the realm of possibility for extreme actions to be taken. The Scarlet Mandala felt a disorienting absurdity. Even her sister could not uncover this information. Yet this man had. She pointed accusingly at Qin Lang, feeling as though her worldview had been shattered. A policeman needing to solicit clues from Qin Lang, even willing to pay a price for them? Let us go. This matter does not concern you. Do not stir the waters any further. Do not return here. Shinziki urged the Scarlet Mandala, leading her away. This burden of hatred was hers to bear alone. She owed a heavy debt to her aunt's family, and her sister must not be placed in danger. Long after the two departed, Su Xiao had yet to emerge from the bathroom. Girls often luxuriated in their bathing rituals. Qin Lang, growing anxious from the wait, decided to enter. The bathroom was spacious, with curtains drawn in the middle, and the sound of rushing water masked his approach. It was only when she felt a presence behind her that Su Xiaoxiao turned in alarm, her fear quickly transforming into bashfulness upon recognizing Qin Lang. With a playful pout, she murmured, "Young master, what are you doing?" "I'm scrubbing. If you can't reach, I can assist you." The next morning, bidding farewell to the still slumbering Su Xiaoxiao, Qin Lang, under the escort of Junzi, arrived at Tianhai University. It was time for him to shift his battleground, having transferred there for classes. After all, many opportunities regarding Chun Pinyin, the proverbial fat sheep, awaited him at Tianhai University. Not long after entering the campus, he encountered a commotion of students gathered around a heated scene. "Zhang Michun, how many times must I tell you? I no longer have feelings for you. Please stop pursuing me. I am now Wang Xiao's girlfriend." A young woman, lightly made up, disdainfully shook off the hand of the boy grasping her arm, her expression one of utter repulsion. The boy, known as Zhang Mingchun, knelt on the ground, agony etched across his face. Yuan, that cannot be true. You must be coerced by that guy, right? I am unafraid. My love for you is profound. So long as you are with me, we can weather any storm together." Fang Yuanyuan rolled her eyes, exasperated. "Who wants to weather storms with you? You're just a poor boy. You can barely afford a smartphone without working 2 months of summer jobs. Why would I continue with you? Suffering alongside you?" With a huff, she turned her back, leaving him behind. The surrounding students, losing interest, drifted away, leaving Zhang Mingchun alone in his anguish, tears streaming down his face. After weeping for some time, he finally raised his head, gritting his teeth. Yuan, that cannot be true. I believe you still love me." His mind was resolute as he prepared to confront Wang Xiao directly for clarity. However, just as he stood up to seek him out, a hand rested on his shoulder. Zhang Mingchen turned around to face the unfamiliar Qin Lang, momentarily feeling dwarfed by his superior demeanor, and weakly inquired, "Who are you?" With a warm smile, Qin Lang replied, "My identity is of little consequence. Are you aware of Fang Yuanyuan's background? She hails from an affluent family." Zhang Mingchun gritted his teeth, asserting, "I care not for her lineage. All I know is that she is my girlfriend, and I will not allow her to come to harm." I firmly believe she is being coerced. Having listened to Zhang Mingchun's fervent yet naive response, Qin Lang felt somewhat overwhelmed. Despite having mentioned Fang Yuanyuan's privileged status, Zhang Mingchun remained obstinately intent on confronting Wang Xiao, only to face humiliation and oppression. Ultimately, he would encounter Chun Pinyin, who would rescue him and transform him into a loyal subordinate. Were it not for Zhang Mingchun's notable presence in the original narrative and the necessity for an informant beside Chun Pinyin, Qin Lang would hardly have bothered with this fellow. "Very well, I shall take you to find Fang Yuanyuan." Qin Lang was not about to relinquish such a valuable informant for the sake of attending class. This individual, with his singular focus, had fortuitously crossed paths with him. Who could predict when he might seek out that insufferable Wang Xiao? Should Chun Pinyin seize the opportunity first, he would lose an invaluable undercover ally in Zhang Mingchen. He made a phone call to Junzi, instructing him to wait at the school gate. He also reserved a private room in advance for 1 o'clock. Under Qin Lang's persistent persuasion, Zhang Mingchen was reluctantly pulled into the back seat of a Maybach. They departed from Tianhai University, heading straight for the affluent district. It was not until they settled into the private room that Zhang Mingchen anxiously surveyed the opulent decor surrounding him. "Is this a club?" he pondered, swallowing hard. Feeling ill at ease, he was still a naive young man, having only held hands with Fang Yuanyuan since their relationship began, with no kisses exchanged. How could he possibly have visited such a place? "Weren't you supposed to take me to find Yuanyuan? What are we doing here?" Zhang Mingchen asked, his expression a mix of confusion and disbelief. "Knock, knock." A familiar voice echoed from outside, rendering Zhang Mingchen speechless. "Good day, sir. May I come in?" "Come in," Qin Lang replied nonchalantly. The door creaked open, revealing Fang Yuanyuan clad in a black uniform, holding a silver briefcase, her slender waist swaying gracefully as she entered. With her head bowed, she approached slowly, only lifting it once she was near. This was an exquisite display of subtlety. Rather than revealing herself immediately, she created an atmosphere of intrigue and allure, leaving a lasting impression. Had it been an ordinary private room, she would not have employed such finesse. Yet, today's reservation was for the Emperor's suite. Moreover, it was a deliberate choice to meet at such an early hour, far more costly than the extravagant 8,888 of the night. It was evident that he was a wealthy magnate. The moment Fang Yuanyuan lifted her gaze and caught sight of Qin Lang, Zhang Mingchen also came into view. The couple's eyes widened in unison, exclaiming, "What are you doing here?" Just moments ago, they had parted ways, and now, no matter what, even if it meant death, Fang Yuanyuan could scarcely believe she would encounter Zhang Mingchen in such an opulent setting. This was a high-class venue she could never have hoped to access in her lifetime. "Yuanyuan, how did you end up here?" Zhang Mingchen asked, his expression almost foolishly bewildered, despite his reluctance to accept it. He was now awakening to the truth of Qin Lang's earlier words. The girlfriend he cherished